As the season comes to a close, we'll look back at the Astros who made an impact in 2013 and who could make an even bigger splash in 2014. A year filled with memorable moments comes to a close. We'll remember it all next on Comcast Sportsnet. From Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Comcast Sportsnet brings you Houston Astros baseball. Today it's the season finale. The Astros are meeting the New York Yankees. And hello, everybody. Again, Bill Brown and Alan Ashby and partner. We have come to the end of the trail at last.
Quite a trail it's been, Bronny. It hasn't been the best in terms of wins and losses. There have been a lot of exciting moments, including last night. Andy Pettitte with the great outing, a complete game for his final game in the major leagues. Really special today, Mariano Rivera Day, and a lot of great stuff going on.
Yeah, we go back to opening day, and Bud Norris was the starter. There have been a world of changes throughout this season.
March 31st, the Texas Rangers in town. Everybody favored the Rangers in the division. The Astros came in with Bud Norris picking that up the opening day nod. He gets the win over Matt Harrison. Eric Bedard played a big part in things. And how about Justin Maxwell? A couple of triples in that ball game. So a lot of changes have taken place with the club. But, yeah, that was a very special day.
And Maxwell a big part of it. He moved on to Kansas City along the way. But now we're talking also about 2014. Julia Morales has more on Bo Porter's thoughts about 2014 as we return in just a moment.
For this afternoon's national anthem. Joining us to perform our anthem this afternoon from Congregation Beth Israel, please welcome Cantor Daniel Mutlu. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. A rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Welcome back to Minute Maid Park. We get you set for game 162 here between the Yankees and the Astros. Bo Porter, the skipper, talking today about how the schedule couldn't have worked out better for his young club and the situation the Yankees were in. Some of the biggest names in baseball retiring right here at Minute Maid Park. He said the support for these guys has been overwhelming, and his team has had a front row for it. It's exactly what they need to see. They're being honored not just for their great careers on the field, but what kind of person they were while they were in the league. Bo Porter wrapping up his rookie year as manager in the majors, hired this time last season. Right after that, he watched each of the team's 162 games from the previous season so that he could learn and prepare himself for the season. He'll continue that tradition this year. He's going to watch every single game on his computer. He said he'll do it over the next couple of months just to get a closer look at some of the decisions that he's made. And he said this time will be different. He'll have notes going in, and because this sport is day-to-day, it's hard to spend so much time on something that caused the team to lose the night before. This is a chance for him to get a better idea of what went wrong. He'll also make clips of certain aspects of the game, mentioning infield errors. As for regrets, changes that he'd like to make, he said honestly he believes everything that happened this season, there was something that the team needed to learn from that in order for this team to move forward in the right direction. Guys, lucky for Bo, he has a remote so he can fast forward through us. But we've had a good time this year, and I've really enjoyed working with you guys so far this season.
Well, the pleasure's been ours, Julia. You have done a magnificent job, and I really feel sorry for Bo Porter if he's going to watch every play of every game from this season. But that shows you his dedication, and that is truly uncommon. Have you ever heard of that for a manager before, Julia? I have not. How about you, Ash?
I never have. I think that Bo would be well served to check out all the segments that Julia was involved in, and you can find out it wasn't such a bad year after all.
That'll be the best part. Now, Eduardo Nunez will lead it off for the New York Yankees today. And Eric Bedard on the mound. And Bedard with a record of 4-12, an ERA of 4.81, making his 26th start of the year. He got the save here on opening night against the Texas Rangers. That's the way his 2013 started. And he worked his way into the rotation, and there's ball one to Nunez. Yankees have won a couple of one-run games in this series. 3-2 Friday night, 2-1 last night. There's a strike for Bedard that takes the count to 1-1. As the Yankees go out with a record of 84-77 for their final game. There's foul back, and it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Here's the lineup for the final game for Joe Girardi. Eduardo Nunez, J.R. Murphy, Curtis Granderson, Vernon Wells, Mark Reynolds, Travis Hafner, David Adams, Brendan Ryan, Zoilo Almonte. And the pitcher is David Huff. That one's in the air, and it goes back toward the seats into this big Sunday afternoon crowd. Crowd really seemed to enjoy the pregame festivities involving Mariano Rivera, and also hearing from the eloquent Joe Torre. Oh, was he good, Ash?
That was good with right off the cuff, and he hit every spot right on the money.
Nunez swings through a breaking pitch and strikes out.
It is left-hander, the veteran Eric Bedard on the hill for the Astros. He's had a bit of a struggle here in September. It's been a while since he's been able to pick up some wins, but he's pitched much better than the numbers would indicate. Left-hand hitters have been a thorn in the side, hitting .311 on the year, and 18 dingers. That's a figure that he would love to chop up and throw some parts out.
Yeah. J.R. Murphy, the batter. Murphy cranks one foul. There's strike one to the Yankee catcher, hitting .158. Bedard in his career against the Yanks has won 4. He's lost 5 with a 4.58 ERA. This is his 14th career start against the Yankees. It's his 3rd start since he moved out of the bullpen back into the rotation. And Bedard gets a swing and a miss. He's pitched very well here at Minute Maid Park with a 3.36 ERA here.
It's been consistent. The batting average against, 267 in the first half, 263 in the second.
He has said he'd like to pitch for a couple of more seasons. There's strikeout number 2 to open this game. So a final chance for him to get in a bid for a contract for 2014. He's piled up 144 innings coming into this start today, and he's proved that he has been healthy all year.
That's been the big thing, being healthy. He's a guy who's had plenty of history with injuries and gets to a point in his career where he does stay healthy. I'm sure he would like to go on.
Curtis Granderson takes that first pitch, and it's ball one. Bill Miller's the home plate umpire. Granderson had 227 in an injury-riddled season. Has 7 homers. He's driven in 14. He got jammed on that one. It's a fly ball into shallow right center field, and laying out for Trevor Crow in center, and now into second base as he fails to make the catch is Granderson. Well, Crow went all out for it, couldn't quite get there, and Granderson will get a jam shot double.
Trevor Crow appeared to get a late break. That step back, anticipating the ball might have been hit better than it was. Whereas Granderson, a guy who's hit just a load of home runs in the past couple of seasons, but you'll see going back and now coming on, and by the time he gets a turn in the right direction, it's too late.
Did the best he could to close on it, but it's a double for Granderson, his 13th. And Vernon Wells is the batter. Wells getting a start for the first time in this series. Here's ball one to the former Toronto Blue Jay. Los Angeles Angel of Anaheim. 237, 11 homers, 50 runs batted in. He helped this club for a while offensively when it was looking for big offensive help and really struggling to find hits and runs. Fouls that one back. Hasn't been playing a whole lot lately. 34 years old.
Defensively for the Houston Astros here this afternoon, Carlos Corporon behind the plate. Around the infield, right to left, Chris Carter, Jose Altuve, Jonathan Villar, and Matt Dominguez in the outfield. You've seen him, Trevor Crow in center, flanked by J.D. Martinez in right, and Jake Elmore in left.
1-1 to count on Wells, who was born in Shreveport, Louisiana, went to high school in Arlington, Texas. Fouls it back, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. We're going to be joined in a couple of innings by the famous Texas sports artist Opie Otterstad, who presented that wonderful painting to Mariano Rivera before the game today. Vernon Wells' father is also a sports artist. And
very good one too, Brownie.
Yes, he is. You've seen some of his work with the Blue Jays, right?
Plenty.
That one almost clipped him on the back foot. And the count runs to 2-2 on Vernon Wells. Wells has had some outstanding years. He's been a 3-time All-Star, but production fell off quite a bit in recent seasons. 2011 he had 25 homers for the Angels, but he hit only .218. And last year just a .230 batting average with 11 home runs for the Halos. He's had his moments with this Yankee club, 3-2, but the Yankees have spent most of the season trying to fill holes in a leaking dike, you might say. They've used 56 different players. 21 have gone on the disabled list at some point.
Early on this year, Vernon Wells was kind of the guy offensively.
And this time he strikes out. Bedard strikes out 3 in the first inning. Good start for Eric. Huff to the mound in just a moment. By Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Now the Astros trying to break a 14-game losing streak will come out with this lineup for Bo Porter today. The Yankees scoreless in the top of the first. The Astros lead off with Jonathan Villar, shortstop. It's Jose Altuve who's had a rampage in the month of September at second base. Matt Dominguez at third. Chris Carter at first. J.D. Martinez right field. Brandon Laird DH. Trevor Crow center field. Carlos Corporon catcher. Jake Elmore left field.
On the mound for the Yankees this afternoon, 29-year-old left-hander. That is David Huff that goes for the Yankees. He's been around the big leagues since 2009. Came up with the Indians initially. Now in his first year with the Yankees, 5.16 the ERA while going 3-1.
Jonathan Villar faces him. Showing bunt. He takes ball one from Huff. Huff making his second start.
That's 6.06 ERA, the combined total that he's had with the Indians and Yankees.
It was a sandwich pick after the first round by Cleveland in the 06 draft. Compensation for Bob Howry signing as a free agent from Huntington Beach, California, and UCLA. 2 balls, no strikes to Villar. Villar takes a strike. That makes it 2-1. Jonathan trying to come out of a slump. He was 0 for 3 with a walk last night. Friday night 1 for 4. He snapped an 0 for 19 with that 7th inning hit Friday night. He cranks one for the left field corner. Looks like a double for Villar. Wells over to play it. Villar into second base. Lead off 2-base hit just ahead of that throw from Wells. 9th double for Villar.
Much more of a pull type hitter when he's batting right-handed. When he's batting left, he'll sting the ball the other way a lot of times and back up the middle. But you can see that's a power stroke. And he crushed a home run earlier in Seattle while batting right-handed.
Good start for the Astros, and now it's Jose Altuve. Only 2 Astros have had more hits in a calendar month. And Jose Altuve's 41 hits in this month of September. 285 for the season, 5 homers, 52 driven in for Altuve. Ball one to Jose. It has been a fantastic finishing kick for him. With a .373 average, as you might have noticed in this final month of the season, showing that Even though he's a little guy, he can finish strong with a lot of energy. First in the majors in hits in September. And that foul ball takes the count to 1-1. Only Richard Hidalgo, who had 49 hits in September of 2000, and Cesar Cedeno, who had 47 in 1 month in 77, have had more hits in a month among the Astros in Altuve. To center field, Granderson playing shallow comes in for it and makes the catch. 1 out.
For the Yankees defensively this afternoon, J.R. Murphy's behind the dish. Around the infield, Mark Reynolds, David Adams, Brendan Ryan, and Eduardo Nunez in the outfield. Curtis Granderson, Zoilo Almonte's in right field, and Vernon Wells in left.
It has rained this morning outside. Nice to have a roof. Matt Dominguez, the batter. He'll take strike one. With 21 homers, 76 runs batted in. He has a .242 batting average. At 0 for 7 in this series, but since August 13th, he's been a .282 hitter. It's a liner off the end of the bat, out into left center field. VR is being sent home, and here's the throw toward the plate, cut off. 1-0 Houston. RBI single Dominguez, and that's his 77th run batted in.
Jonathan VR froze for a good while on this soft liner. I'm sure that was that difficult to read getting by the shortstop, but the speed of VR enables him to score nonetheless. You can see that line drive. You always do freeze on a line drive that's to the infield, but you can also see how well over the infield this winds up being. Boy, you just can't beat speed.
They're saying you can't teach that. Chris Carter, the batter now. There's strike one to Carter with 29 homers, 82 runs batted in, leading the club in those two important categories. His batting average is .225. Carter had an RBI last night, which was an unusual one, scoring Jose Altuve from second on a ground out. No balls, 2 strikes to Chris. Well, Bo Porter was talking about his team with the media the last couple of days, his plans for next year, and he is figuring on Chris Carter being a fixture in the lineup, whether at first base or DH. He's played some left field, but he said he prefers him at first base. And Carter's down on a foul tip strikeout for out number 2.
Yeah, for me, Chris Carter's an ideal DH, but he's actually acquitted himself quite well at first base. I think if you can come up with an outfield that makes a little more sense, you'd love to keep him on the infield or DH.
JD Martinez in right field today at .251, has 7 homers, 36 runs batted in. Strike one to JD. JD will plan to play winter ball and hope that will further his bid for a lot of playing time for the 2014 Astros. Spent a lot of time on the disabled list with the left wrist sprain from July 27th until September 13th. Fouls it back, and it's 0-2. Boy, there have been so many changes on this club throughout the season, and a lot of young players have gotten a chance. Now the Astros just trying to put this 14-game winning streak to bed. There has not been a team in the modern era in Major League Baseball to lose its final 15 games in the regular season. Nice down the play.
Brownie, where I see a real challenge for this club is they've been at or near the bottom offensively in terms of runs scored in numerous categories all year long, but they've also been at the bottom or near defensively. And you've got that challenge of not only trying to get better offensively, but in the process bring the defense along with it. And that means everybody who can play offensively doesn't necessarily fit if you want to make sure that defense gets better as well.
What would your priorities be for next year?
It's such a challenge, and I don't know that there's a straight up answer. You want the best players you can get, obviously. I think you're always looking for the exceptional athlete. that can make it happen on both sides of the game. Now, you know, we've seen Brandon Barnes and the things he can do defensively, and I think it makes a world of the difference for a pitching staff when you have a solid defense. But you also have to score runs, and this team has shown in the losing streak, not scoring runs cost you ball games time and time again. So, you know, there's not a simple answer to your question for me.
Martinez strikes out. It's 1 run, 2 hits for the Astros, and after one, they lead it 1-0.
Your Astros experience via computer, smartphone, or tablet. Get in-depth stats and join the social buzz in Game Live. Only on CSNHouston.com. Browning.
Thanks, Julia. Well, as we reflect back, and we're going to be doing that throughout this game today, we'll look back at some of the happenings throughout this season for the Astros, some directions that we think might be coming for 2014. Mark Reynolds leads it off and fouls it back. There's strike one. Reynolds with 20 homers, 66 runs batted in, has a .221 average. And well, we'll start with that starting rotation for Bo Porter. There are not many times a major league club undergoes this many changes in its rotation, other than because of injuries. That's in the air, and third baseman Matt Dominguez comes in. Carlos Corcoran takes care of it for out number one. Let's go back to the opening day starting rotation. Of course, the starter was Bud Norris for that first game. Then there was Lucas Harrell, Philip Humber, Brad Peacock, and Eric Bedard. And now Peacock and Bedard. Peacock has been to the minor leagues and back to reclaim a spot in the rotation. Humber has gone to the minor leagues and come back to work in relief. Bedard has been in the bullpen and back to the rotation. So it's been quite a lot of changes, and that has led to some opportunities for young arms who are exciting parts of the Astros' future, including Brett Oberholzer there, who's been very sharp this season as a left-hander who really attacks the strike zone. And then Jared Cozart, of course, highly touted, and he lived up to the billing and maybe even surpassed it with his excellent season until he was shut down. Ash.
Cozart, an ERA in his 10 starts at 195. Oberholzer, boy, he just pitched so well. 276. Those are two guys that appear ready for primetime right now, and I can see them at the top of the rotation. I loved what Brad Peacock brought when he came back from the minor leagues. He has an exceptional arm.
Paul Clemens had it going last night until he developed a little cut on his thumb that was bleeding, and that forced him out of the game.
He made a couple of starts here in the tail end of the season that were very strong and worth consideration.
Clemens and Peacock there.
What I like about Peacock is he possesses and commands quite well 4 different pitches, and it's not easy to do, even for a guy who's been around a long time. You might have 2 or 3 pitches you command quite well. I think Peacock has come along extremely well.
2-2 on Travis Hafner now. And Bedard gets in on him, gets a foul ball. So now at the end of the season, it's been a 6-man rotation. For a while it was Jared Cozart a part of that. And you talked about his low ERA, and then Oberholzer, and he wound up with a 2.24. Peacock and Clemens there. And tight, and that one is going to get him to first base. He was grazed by the pitch. We go to Julia Morales.
Thanks, Brownie. Talking about Cozart there, he pitched one of the most memorable games of the season for me personally, flirting with that no-hitter in his major league debut in Tampa Bay. He went 8 innings that day. Didn't look like a rookie at all. I remember Carlos Corcoran catching that game. He was speechless after the game. Corcoran never speechless. And then Evan Longoria saying he did the best cutter he's seen since Mariano Rivera. What a compliment. What a night.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that game was one of the highlight games of the season, without question, because it was so in your face. Like, look at this great stuff. He was consistently 94 to 96, and he went higher than that at times, but his command was just as good as you'll see.
David Adams with strike 1 in the count. Now fouls it away. No balls, 2 strikes for Bedard. So a lot of promise there for the Astros in their starting rotation, and that's to say nothing of the young pitchers who are on the way, who did not arrive at the major league level this year. The Mark Appels of the world, and Mike Fultonevich's, Asher Wojciechowski. There are many, many more names to come other than those.
Jordan Lyles is still a kid. And at times he'll show you the great stuff that looks like it should be able to succeed and win on a consistent basis. Don't see it consistently, though.
In many ways, I think we could say accurately, Ash, that the biggest part of the year has been what the Astros fans here in Houston have not seen. And that is the development of the minor leaguers. That's strikeout number 4 for Bedard.
Yeah, that's probably true. And you know, you try to stay with that notion of patience, but you want to win. And you can't blame the fans for wanting that to take place here in Houston.
2 outs, and it's Brendan Ryan, and he is plan B at shortstop for the Yankees next year. If Derek Jeter does not stay healthy, the Yankees certainly would love to have a healthy Jeter. There's ball 1. These two teams in many ways at opposite ends of the spectrum, with the Yankees having these long time established star players. 2 of them retiring now. Another one in doubt about next year's schedule, Alex Rodriguez, with his suspension hanging in the balance. And then Derek Jeter coming off injuries. And they're going to be having to shop to fill in the gaps for those players who are leaving, the Mariano Rivera's, the Andy Pettitts of the world, and several others who are headed for free agency.
Derek Jeter was astoundingly good in 2012. Then took on the injury in the postseason. And at this stage of things, I don't know how you can anticipate that it's just going to be an automatic rebound.
But with the age and that shortstop position being so demanding, and the ankle injuries he's had, all those things are questionable right now. Ball 2. Ryan making it 2-2. The Astros had a franchise record 6 minor league affiliates who qualified for the postseason this year. And their combined minor league record for all the teams was a .569 winning percentage. That was second among all organizations. So Bull Porter has a pipeline here, and it's going to be producing very good major league players soon. That's a 3-2 count now for Ryan with Almonte on deck.
San Francisco Giants have been rather astounding winners of the World Series 2 of the last 3 years. And they had a minor league organization that was eventually at the top just above the Astros. So yeah, those are a couple of the organizations that are really appearing to be in good shape.
Line drive left field. That's in for a hit in front of Elmore. He picks it up. And Hafner advances to second on the single by Ryan. 2 men on for Almonte now. And then the Astros will also have the first pick in the draft again next June. And the favorite to be chosen number 1 overall as of right now in the minds of many is North Carolina State lefty Carlos Rodon. David Gottfried on the left. Jeff Luhnow, Jeff's wife, watching from the general manager's box. Gina. They probably know Mike Elias is going to be the guy forefront of that scouting that decides who the number 1 overall pick will be. But certainly Carlos Rodon is one of those names that will be bandied about quite a bit as we get closer to the draft. It's a 1-ball 1-strike count to Zoilo Almonte. Tampa Bay is crushing Toronto 7-0 in the top of the 5th in Toronto. As the Rays try to get into the playoffs as a wild card team, it's coming down to the final day involving 3 teams for 2 spots in the American League wild card race. Fly ball to right. Martinez backing and on the warning track to end the 2nd for New York with no runs a hit, 2 men stranded, 1-0 Astros. Time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. The Astros come up in the bottom of the 2nd inning. It'll be Laird, Crow, and Corcoran batting against David Huff. Brandon Laird with 5 homers, 11 runs batted in, has a .179 batting average. He's had 67 at bats with the Astros. Had a good season at AAA Oklahoma City. Off the end of the bat, it's popped up. Brendan Ryan backpedaling to get out to left center. Now called off by Vernon Wells. 1-pitch one out for Huff.
No, that's just a routine play right there. But That's an example of the way it's supposed to be done. And we have seen numerous times this year when the Astros have had issues with little pop flies, but infielder takes the ball, stays on it until called off, and at that moment gets out of there, and it winds up looking so easy when done well.
Trevor Crowe, the center fielder today at 225, has a homer. He's driven in 13. There's strike one. You know, you mentioned attention to defensive play. That's going to be really important next spring for the Astros. Try to lock down some of the mistakes that have been made this year and prevent them next year.
And Brownie, for me, I've seen a lot of errors, as we all have. The club has not been good in that regard. But I've also seen the mental mistakes where cutoff men are nowhere to be found or in the wrong position. Throws may be overthrown from cutoff men perspective. And, you know, just on and on with kind of those routine things that when you're in spring training, you watch it going on, and it just kind of takes place, and you kind of take it for granted. It's just one of the formalities of the spring. But it has gotten lost somehow during the course of the year at times.
Ground ball to third. Nunez goes Crowe, and that brings up Carlos Corcoran, and as he catches here on the final day of the season, we look back at the catching situation with Jason Castro really having a marvelous year this year.
Really miss seeing him here in the past month, whatever it's been, because his bat came so far, and maybe he's always been this guy, but being healthy has made a huge difference. This guy, as a backup catcher, before maybe being over-needed, just a terrific season going. Swings it well from both sides of the plate and has some huge hits for the club. He really is a fine receiver behind the dish. So, yeah, they're strong in some areas. Of course, Max Stassi's the guy that really came along in the minor league system this year. We haven't gotten to see a whole lot of Max, but a lot of good things that he was able to do this year.
7 home runs for Corcoran, 20 runs batted in at a .226 average. He's had 186 at bats this season. Takes that one from Huff, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
But I'll say of Jason Castro, offensively, he became very close to a monster this year. And there were times when he was a monster, and I don't care if a righty or lefty was on the hill. Just a terrific advancement, and, you know, I don't know, most improved offensive player. Matt Carpenter's had a terrific year, as has Chris Davis. But Jason Castro, for me, has to be mentioned probably in the top 3.
He's in that conversation. There's a liner to left center field by Carlos Corcoran. Anderson coming over to play it, and he's on with a 2-out single. 2-out, 2-strike hit, bringing up Jake Elmore. Well, we both have Castro as our Astros team MVP.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a no-brainer in that regard. He was that good this year, even missing the final 3-4 weeks of the season.
Elmore takes a look at ball one. Elmore, 246, has 2 homers. He's driven in 6. Jake has been very versatile this year. He's had 118 at bats. He could fit onto next year's 2014 ball club. Second baseman Adams gets it over to first. No runs, a hit, and the man left. After 2, it's 1-0 Houston.
And the Houston Rockets get the preseason started next Saturday against the New Orleans Pelicans. Catch all the action starting at 6:30 p.m. only on Comcast Sports Network.
Thanks, Julia. Got to beware of those Pelicans.
You can bet Joe Torre is.
Wasn't he eloquent in his
Yes, he was.
remarks?
Yeah, it's rare when you see that guy that can just impromptu go up and say all the right things.
Yankees up in the 3rd inning. Eduardo Nunez leads it off. Eric Bedard deals, and it's strike 1. Yankees are 12-14 in the month of September. It's an unusual ending for them. Only the 2nd time in 19 years they are not going to postseason play. questions about this New York club, including will they have Alex Rodriguez in uniform. Rodriguez said that he is fighting for his life and his whole legacy. And he's excited to begin his appeal of the 211-game drug suspension. And the appeal process is scheduled to begin tomorrow at Major League Baseball's offices in New York.
Based on the way people have talked about the evidence against him, he's going to have quite a battle.
According to a story today by Brian Hotch at MLB.com, he says that the proceedings are expected to last for 5 days.
Carlos Corporon took a foul tip off that mask, and you can see he's saying, "No, you don't need to come out here." But you know, more and more so today, you're seeing attention given to these foul tips. It's a different time than. I don't know. When did all this attention come to concussions? Probably over the last couple of decades, I would imagine.
Yeah, it just seems to be about the last 5 years that it's really stepped up. VR out, was called off. And the catch is made by Elmore. One out.
Well, it can only be a good thing.
Absolutely.
I wonder about the hockey masks. They are great in terms of overall protection around the ears, back of the head, top of the head. But, and there's no way that I could do a study in terms of the guys who are coming up with concussion symptoms. Are they wearing this mask or the old style? Because I wore the old style, and I never was aware of a foul tip creating that kind of damage.
That's crazy. All the games you caught. Right, going to J.R. Murphy.
There may be plenty around me who would say, "Oh, there was some damage, pal," but I wasn't aware of those moments.
You have a built-in excuse.
And I'm going to retain it, too.
Chris Davis of Baltimore leads Miguel Cabrera for the RBI title, 138 to 137. Davis is now out of the game for Baltimore. Cabrera has yet to bat today. Who's your MVP in the American League?
Look, I don't know how you can get away from Miguel Cabrera. The numbers are too compelling, and the Tigers continue to win, and they're a great offensive club, and I think in good part all of that comes because of Miguel Cabrera. He is the one guy that I think unanimously pitchers would say, "I don't want to face this guy." Not in a big situation. Although I say unanimously, I'm sure there are some other answers that might happen, but he's going to be the guy that would be most mentioned.
Tigers don't have a hit yet off Miami's Henderson Alvarez.
He's pretty good.
That strike three call. Murphy caught looking. Strikeout number 5. Let's see what our choices have been for MVP and Cy Young. We both agree on Miguel Cabrera for MVP and Max Scherzer for Cy Young. That's boring when we agree.
Yeah, it's simply wrong. But body of work for that Cy Young as well as the MVP. Max Scherzer is the guy, and he's picked it up again here lately. 21 wins on the year, just 3 losses. If you just looked at the numbers and had no idea that he had a bit of a hiccup here in September, you'd say, "Oh my goodness, obviously he's the Cy Young Award winner."
Foul tip. 1-1 to Granderson. It's a wild final day concerning that American League wild card situation. We'll keep you abreast of developments there. It's a swing and a miss, and Bedard has a 1-2 count. Cleveland Indians are looking good. They're leading at Minnesota 2-0 after 2.5, and they have a 1-game lead in the wild card race. In the air, and center fielder comes in for it. Trevor Crowe with a catch. It's a 1-2-3 third for Bedard and a 1-0 lead for Houston.
2013 Major League postseason starting October 1st. Check your local listings for details.
Oh, yes, it does start October 1st, but it might start September 30th with wild card playoffs, Ash. It's getting crazy, isn't it?
I'm going to say, the way things are shaping up, we might be seeing some baseball play tomorrow.
Pretty good chance of it. If there's a 2-way tie between the Rangers and the Rays, the tiebreaker will be played at 7:07 tomorrow night in Texas. Rangers won the season series from Tampa Bay 4-3. That gives them home field advantage if they have a 1-game playoff with the Rays. Jonathan VR comes up now. He opened the Astros first with a double and scored on the Dominguez hit. And he has shown us excitement this season with his speed and his range and his arm. Strike one to VR. Young players can show marked improvement once they get that first major league playing time. So it'll be interesting to check in on him next April.
See that swing from the right side of VR? It is powerful. And when you get a chance to see this guy close up, he's actually a well-built, strong guy. I could see him becoming a guy who drives baseballs out of the yard right-handed. Left-handed, the stroke, as it constantly or presently is constituted, is more of a left field line drive stroke, and I like that very much.
It's 2-2.
Right-handed, there's that powerful swing. And this in Seattle where he hit the bomb, that was impressive. Teammates had a delayed reaction.
Brendan Ryan far to his left. Magnificent play by Ryan. One out. Tremendous range there.
This guy can really play shortstop, and he does it quietly. You can come to a ball game and maybe not even know who the shortstop was when he's playing, but this kind of play is somewhat routine for him. And this is the kind of play I keep looking to see come from Jonathan VR. He has the tools, no question.
Terrific play. Now it's Altuve batting. Altuve was the Astros MVP last season. There's strike one. And it's difficult, of course, to repeat stacking one good season on top of another. He's had a fine year. One ball, one strike, but once a player has that first really good year, then the expectations are ramped up. Last year he hit .290. This year he's driven in more runs than he did a year ago. But he was a leadoff man more of the time last year than he has been this season. 2 balls and a strike. So his career average will be about .286 at the end of this year. Ryan gets it over to first. 2 outs.
Good sample of what a shortstop has to do on occasions. Routine play if you're able to make the grab on that in-between hop. And he kind of covers up. We get a peek at the way Ryan comes at this ball. It's not the one-handed version with a charge going on, and if you make it, it looks great, and if you don't make it, oh well, it was a tough play. But instead, just a shortstop that knew his limitations on the play.
Ball 1-2 Dominguez.
Watch how this sets up. Ryan's going to get faced with that third hop right there, and he really just utilized the body. Didn't need it in the end, but it was there in the event that he didn't come up with the ball clean.
What's the best way to prepare for a possible bad hop?
I think these guys can see it coming in that first instant. They can tell if that second hop or third hop is going to be in between on them, and sometimes you can avoid that hop by charging or backing up, and you have to know your hitter and his speed. Sometimes you can't afford to back up, but I think that knowledge to say, look, I am not going to just swipe at this ball, and if I make it, everybody's going to think, wow, this guy's really slick. But if I don't make it, they'll think, well, tough play.
Dominguez strikes out. We end the 3rd inning with the score 1-0 Astros.
The Astros salute to veterans presented by Occidental Petroleum at Minute Maid Park this Veterans Day. Free entertainment and a film you will not forget. Learn more and get your free tickets at www.astros.com/bets today. Guys,
we want to see a full house for that one. Vernon Wells leads it off in the 4th inning. Why not? Tickets are free. There's ball 1. Wells struck out on the 3-2 count in the 1st inning. This one's in the air, and the second baseman Altuve goes out into right center field, and now is called off by J.D.
Martinez. This moment in history brought to you by M.D. Anderson. making cancer history. And it's September 29th of 1957. The Giants' Dusty Rhodes hits a walk-off 3-run home run off Bob Lemon to beat the Indians. That's a 5-2 final in the first game of the World Series. He's the second player in history to end a World Series game with a homer.
Strike to Mark Reynolds. And Willie Mays made a tremendous catch in center field in that game. Bedard gets a comebacker. Goes out Reynolds. 2 outs. Here's the Mays catch.
We've all seen it if you've been around the game at all, but there's the drive to center. Willie Mays going back. He always made basket catches, but pretty spectacular. And of course, Willie Mays, I imagine he would tell folks, I made that kind of catch all the time. And I think he did. But it was the World Series, and he got a chance to kind of show off what he did so well. Back to home plate, that is not easy.
And then he spun and fired back to the infield, all in one motion. Terrific play, memorable play. Travis Hafner looks at strike one. Hafner was hit by a pitch in the second inning. There's never been a three-way tie for playoff spots. That could be the case by the end of the day. 1 ball, 1 strike. Give Cleveland credit for a 9-game winning streak at the end of the year. Add Texas for a 6-game winning streak at the end of the year going into today's action. Rangers have not yet started at home against the Angels.
Texas Rangers were in a pure tailspin leading up to that, and it looked like they weren't going to find their way into postseason, but they have turned it around. The Indians, of course, both of those ball clubs needed to get it turned, and they were able to put it to the Astros in that span.
2-2. If the Indians and Rangers end up tied atop the wild card standings, the Indians will host the wild card game. If the Indians and Rays are the 2 wild card teams, the Rays will be the home team. That hit him again. So twice Hafner's been hit by pitches, and he's aboard with 2 outs for Adams. Bedard had 4 hit batsmen coming into this game. That was in 144 innings. He has 2 today.
I've never seen this, and I'm not sure what went on. We have to actually recue that and catch it just before that point. Carlos Corcoran was with his right hand, back to that other angle if possible, but Carlos with his right hand stuck it out to the back of the backside. Look at that hand. What does that mean? And that's where the pitch starts and winds up staying inside. I don't know if Carlos was trying to indicate here's your starting point for the pitch.
Sure. Pitch is outside. It's a 1 ball, 1 strike count for Eric Bedard, shooting for win number 5 of the season. 62 pitches, 42 have been strikes. Bedard has 67 wins, 76 losses in his career. Brings that in, and it's a 1 ball, 2 strike count, and he'll be headed for Canada. He does a lot of hunting in the winter months. He has a bear on this property, has many acres. That bear almost bankrupts him, going to the feeder all the time. Fattens up that bear and then he hunts him. Check swing. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Sounds like a bad deal for the bear.
Well, it's enjoyable for a while for him. Little does he know what's to come later on. Foul back. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
So if I don't fatten up, maybe he won't shoot me.
The Astros have 110 losses, 51 wins. Only 16 teams in history have lost 111 or more in a season. It's all about today and finishing with a W. There's a strikeout. It's number 6. And through 3.5, the Astros lead the Yankees 1-0.
Invades Hattiesburg with a 4A Conference USA clash with the Golden Eagles of Southern Mississippi. Catch all the action next Saturday, 3 p.m. on Comcast Sportsnet. Okay.
Thanks, Julia. We have a no-hitter going for a young Miami Marlin pitcher. Talked about him earlier, Henderson Alvarez. He has no-hit the Detroit Tigers through 9 innings, but it's 0-0 after 9.
He was one of the big names, well, maybe one of the unknown names, but very talented guys involved in the deal between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Miami Marlins this past offseason. Henderson Alvarez can bring it mid-90s with a sinker. I mean, this guy's got a great arm.
We're going to check that. They may still be batting in the 9th. Chris Carter, the batter. Carter, who struck out in the first inning, takes ball 1. With his 29 homers, that's the most an Astros had since Lance Berkman in 08, and he hit 29. 1 ball, 1 strike. And then Carter has made contact. He's made things happen. He has a .454 slugging percentage. David Huff has allowed 3 hits in his first 3 innings. It's a 1-2 count. It's really been puzzling about Carter not hitting better here in his home ballpark this year. And the suspicion is, on Bo Porter's part, just hit the reset button and the numbers will be different next year. Carter's down on strikes. That's number 211.
You know, that sounds like kind of an easy out answer, but I agree with it entirely. I think it's the nature of this game. If you take a look at certain stats that players sometimes use to their advantage or they go against the player, you spread them out over 5 or more years, you start to see that the numbers will balance out. And the numbers for Chris Carter are astounding this year. 167 at home, 279 on the road. 2 different players entirely.
J.D. Martinez takes strike 1 from Huff, who struck out in the first inning. The Reds have lost pitcher Matt Latos, one of their very best. He has a bone chip that's causing pain in his elbow, and he will be unavailable for the Reds wildcard playoff game Tuesday at Pittsburgh. They'll go with Johnny Cueto. Latos was the guy Dusty Baker was leaning toward using in that game. Latos volunteered to pitch in relief if needed, but Dusty Baker apparently doesn't like that idea.
Well, if you're available for relief, my response would be then why not start the game?
Exactly. It's a broken bat looper. Caught by Reynolds. 2 outs.
Yeah, looking for the perfect way to combine business and baseball or a unique space to hold your next event. With state-of-the-art meeting spaces, Minute Maid Park can surpass all of your needs. Call 713-259-8800 for more information. Don't forget to ask about softball games and batting practice for that matter. Brownie, you up for a little batting practice?
Not yet.
I could go for it.
Really?
Yeah, nobody in the ballpark, though. Just us and a pitching machine.
Well, if there are no witnesses, maybe.
Maybe get Roger Clemens to come out and try to strike us out. Now, that would be fun.
Not really.
Oh, yeah.
0-2. Well, of course, you'll be in that situation. You're expected to fail, right? So it's no big deal.
It's Roger just laughing at the notion. Try to strike you guys out.
Laird fouls it. It's 0-2. Well, my concern is that the roof is open in the winter months, and there are people who can get up on top of that criminal justice building with their binoculars and watch us as they make fools of us.
You're concerned about videotape that goes nationwide, aren't you?
Yeah, you have to be concerned about these things. Somebody's watching all the time these days.
There is no such thing as nationwide anymore. What am I talking about? It's on the internet. It's worldwide.
Strikeout and a throw out by the catcher Murphy on to Reynolds for strikeout number 5 for Huff. 1-0 Astros.
It's from our teammate Jeff Blum. Oh, look at this. This truck work is tough stuff. Hashtag exhausting. I don't even know where to go with this. He worked hard though, I guess, in there. probably making fun of us, guys. What do you think he was doing?
I think that's post-meal time right there. I think he had a boomstick.
Brendan Ryan leads it off, and he takes ball one. Ryan singled to left field in the second inning. Well, it's been an absolute joy to work with you guys this year, Ash and Julia and Blummer and everybody on the crew.
Brownie, I can't say enough on my end in that regard, and pure pleasure working with you. And I was going to say the same about Jeff. He and I got to work the games on the road, and just a great time. And of course, Julia, probably the big MVP this year.
Oh yeah. Fly ball to center field. Trevor Crow moving in. That's out number one. The camera is always watching. And here we have it. With some Blummer highlights.
Yep.
Musical moment. Jeff Blum.
There I am thinking I'm getting ready into an open, and I glance up, and what do I see? This going on.
Where was your rhythm?
My rhythm was, I leave it at home all the time.
You left it with your guitar?
I wish I had some.
Almonte takes ball one. Almonte hit a fly ball to right in the second inning, and you know, we've got to thank everybody involved. We've had so many people involved with these telecasts throughout the 6-month season. A lot of people to thank on a day like this, including of course our loyal viewers, and it's been great to hear from them throughout the season. We appreciate their loyalty. It's been a difficult year, and we know that next year is bound to be better. One ball, two strikes. But with our jobs, it's just so much fun coming to the park every day and working with these people. Producer Carl Patterson has been here for most of the games in his first season. He and longtime director Paul Bykowski have teamed together well. We've had other producers and directors, and if we have to name them all, we'll leave somebody out.
We get to have fun. Those guys have to grind all the time, and so the appreciation needs to be handed in that direction.
Yeah. Almonte is hard looking at strikeout number 7. Well, let's try this. Vice President and Executive Producer of live events at NBC Sports Regional Networks, John Slovakin. And Matt Hutchings, of course, our General Manager at Comcast Sportsnet Houston. Executive Producer Murphy Brown. Coordinating Producer Brian Mitchell. Our producers have been Perry Furman, Kevin Cedergren, Mike Uguccione, and Carl Patterson. Rounded foul. Directors Paul Bykowski and Adam Hinsdale. Associate Producer Tom Leonard. Lead EVS operator, we call it Elvis, Jerry Blancas. EVS operators, Jason Fennelly, snapper. Margaret Krause, Deb Ferguson. Duet operator, Kenny Brightstein. Strike there to Nunez. Technical directors, Damon McGavick, Bill Bradley. Audio producer, Jason Martin. Audio assistants, Matt Weaver and Ray Houseman. Video engineer, Roger McNally, Tim Joplin, Steve Shaw. There's a ground ball hit into left center field. Poor Nunez. It's better to do this now so we're not rushing in the 9th inning. Right, Ash?
I'm going to trust you on that one. I thought all they needed was a camera and a microphone to make this happen.
Doesn't this sound complex? Jeff Blum can tell everybody because he's been there in the truck. We never have. You've never sat in the truck for a game, have you?
And you saw it. It broke him down. He was appalled at the work going on.
They broke him. They took him to a cabin in the mountains in Utah, and they broke him.
So much gets by me. I'm glad you bring it up.
Murphy with a smash off Dominguez's glove. He recovers, throws to first. Oh, what a play by Dominguez. Dominguez to Carter, and the juggling act comes to the final day of the season at Minute Maid Park. They made that exciting. Take a look at it for round number 3. Go big at a participating Jack in the Box with Jack's really big chicken sandwich combos for only $3.99 plus tax. And by your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. And let's go to the bottom of the 5th at Minute Maid Park with a big crowd here on the final day of the season. Good to see so many people enjoying baseball under the roof after the rain today. 1-0 Astros. It'll be Crow, Corcoran, and Elmore in the Astro 5th inning. Huff has set down 7 in a row. Crow grounded out in the 2nd inning. More thanks to other folks on our crew throughout the season. There's strike one. The bug operator, you know what the bug is? It's that score on the upper left that's always there for you if you want to mute us, or you're watching in a bar or something like that and the sound is down. You always know what the score is. Alex Scarfo. Camera operators. These guys have been here for years and years and years. Ash. Cliff Crowley is up with us here in the booth. Frank Trevino, Jamie Tidwell, Robin Barrow, Kim Elston, Mario Arredondo, Dana Sherman, Adrian Ochoa, Kevin Allen, Mike Brady. They've been here for many, many years. They do a tremendous job. And it's not easy to follow a Major League Baseball game. I think for the camera operator, probably baseball has to be one of the most difficult sports to do because the way the field is aligned. You know, you think about basketball and hockey and that ratio that goes on your screen at home. The back and forth action is so much easier for a camera operator than the way a baseball field is laid out. And the ball can go in so many directions and it moves so quickly. They do a terrific job. Stage managers, Mary Carol Hazel, Katie East, Melissa Gordon, Kim Nahas. Phil Boudreau does our stats most of the time. Gene Duffy is doing them today. He's been with us for several games this year. Sometimes Oscar Martinez is here and others. Game Creek EIC and engineers Craig Ferguson, Ruben Vela Sr. and Ruben Vela Jr. Thank you for all you've done with Game Creek.
Sounds to me like it takes a village and then some.
Boy, doesn't it though? And the hardest worker and MVP of the crew, Rilo Colton. Thanks so much to Rilo. He is the backbone of what we do. Rilo Colton. Line shot to right field. Almonte backhand with the running catch. That's out number one. Crow hit it hard. But that's 8 in a row now for Huff. It's always kind of wistful, isn't it, this final day, because we've been around people for a 6-month period of time on half the games at home, and now we won't see them for months.
Yeah, I don't know that we have the right to say blood, sweat, and tears like athletes do a lot of times. But it is a grind, and it's a lot of work, and you hear all the names, and everybody's putting in everything they've got. And so, yeah, you get to that point where it is hard to say, we're done for a while. See you later.
I have a correction. Craig Johnson is our Game Creek EIC. Craig Johnson. Thanks to Craig. Carlos Corcoran taking ball one. We have a no-hitter today by Henderson Alvarez of Miami. He beat Detroit 1-0. Miami scored in the bottom of the ninth. So Jim Leland's club finishes 93-69, and Detroit had a rough time in that 3-game series at Miami to wrap up the season.
You know, I'm sure the question has been asked many times in Toronto, how could the season get any worse? That just answered it for Toronto Blue Jays fans. Henderson Alvarez last year, a member of the Blue Jays, and everybody said, oh, this guy's not going to be good enough. He's got great stuff, and you know, sometimes it doesn't happen right away.
That's a strike. Corcoran was headed for first. Threw the bat away. Now he's going to come back, and a home plate umpire, Bill Miller, is not going to be happy about that.
See what this looks like. Yeah, it's probably been called a ball a lot of times, sometimes a strike. I'm not sure that's one you want to take off running on and flip your bat.
He fouls it back, and it's 3-2. So the Tigers, with 93 wins, 69 losses, have the lowest victory total of the 3 division winners in the American League. Boston has the highest. Boston 97-64 coming into play today. Oakland second with 95 wins. So Boston will have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. That's strike 3. And it's strikeout number 6 for Huff. And it just figured after that earlier display that on anything close, Corcoran wasn't going to get a break, right?
And he's got to go out and do the work behind the plate with same home plate umpire. Astros Trivia is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer, who received the highest percentage of Hall of Fame votes in history. It's got to be the Babe, right?
It was not the Babe, we're informed.
Please.
I'm going to say Tom Seaver. Strike to Elmore. He grounded out earlier.
Not Babe Ruth, huh?
That's crazy.
Apparently he must have angered somebody who was looking for a hot dog that afternoon, and Babe polished him off.
What percentage of the vote do you predict Mariano Rivera will get?
I think it could be 100%. He is so revered. I don't know. There are some of the voters who just will not offer a vote that first time through. But I think Mariano has kind of transcended other players who have maybe gone before.
He's certainly deserving. There's a strikeout. That's number 7 for Huff. He's retired 10 in a row. It's 1-0 Astros.
Astros Trivia brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. And that question, who received the highest percentage of Hall of Fame votes in history? I still say it's Babe Ruth. It's got to be. No, apparently not. Tom Seaver's the guy. Almost 99% of the votes in 1992. That's awfully close to 100%. And I'm saying that Mariano Rivera could get 100. What do you think?
He should, but so should have a lot of other players, in my opinion. Strike one to Granderson. Upstairs, ball one. There's real first ballot bias, as we saw again with Craig Biggio this year, on the part of the voters. You know, they just hold that first ballot just so tightly. But Mariano certainly will be in on the first ballot.
I don't recall what the percentage was for Cal Ripken, for example.
Don't remember, Ash.
Yeah. We'll get that number.
Probably well over 90. Struck him out. That's number 8. Good pitching duo here on the final day of this season.
By the way, Eric Bedard is quietly making it look very nice here this afternoon.
Pitching for another contract. Brett Marshall is warming up for the Yankees. That's not to say he hasn't pitched hard all season long.
No, and he has, and I think he's pitched in some unfortunate circumstances, because there have been times he's pitched much better than the record might indicate.
You bet. Cal Ripken got 98.5% of the votes.
You would think you break the Iron Horse's record for consecutive games and all that sort of thing, that somebody who thinks, well, I don't ever give out that vote the first time through would maybe change that opinion. But
well, those voters are fiercely protective of first ballot votes. Fly ball to left center field. And it's caught by Crow, 2 outs.
Nolan Ryan, yeah, that's another name where you might think, come on, 7 no-hitters. Nobody's going to touch that. How about the strikeouts? How about just the compilation of work that he's thrown together? How could you deny him on the first vote?
Somebody did. A few voters did. Mark Reynolds is 0 for 2. There's ball one. As for Mariano Rivera, his first career save came May 17th, 1996 at California against the Angels. Current Yankee manager Joe Girardi was his catcher. Girardi was 2 for 4. He drove in the go-ahead run in the 5th inning with an RBI single. And that was number 1 on the trail for him.
I'm told that Nolan Ryan had 6 people not vote for him. Tom Seaver had 5 not vote.
Crazy. Strike makes it 3-1 to Reynolds now.
I wonder if there's any chance that the guys confer and say, look, I'm going to vote for him. I'm probably not, that sort of thing.
I think that some do check with each other, yes. That's a shot to left field. Elmore way back to the wall. And he catches it. It's a 1-2-3-6. The crowd likes the work of Eric Bedard. 1-0 Astros.
Free on iPhone and iPad. Build your stadium and make the decisions to guide your team to the World Series. Download MLB Ballpark Empire free today. Data and usage rates may apply.
Thanks, Julia. Yankees are bringing in a relief pitcher, Brett Marshall. He has local roots. Brett Marshall is 23 years old, born in Highlands, Texas, northeast of Channelview. Went to Baytown Sterling High School. And the Yankees drafted him in the 6th round in 2008. He has no decisions in 2 games. His ERA is 5.40 in 10 innings of work. And Brett has a low 90s fastball, sinking fastball, a very good changeup. He was named to the All Greater Houston Player of the Year honors in 08 by the Houston Chronicle. So very highly regarded from the high school ranks in Highlands, Texas. He comes in wearing number 70, facing Jonathan VR. VR takes ball one, and then there's that connection to Steve Sparks, Astros radio analyst. Fred Marshall is the second cousin of Steve's wife, Michelle. Right there to VR, and that makes it a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Very good day for David Huff. 5 innings of 3-hit, 1-run baseball. No walks, 7 strikeouts.
Well, I think every player in the major leagues thinks of that 6 degrees of separation from Steve Sparks.
Yeah, that's true. Well, he's not very far separated. Michelle Sparks, anyway. And he comes in here with his club trailing 1-0. VR smacks one to Ryan, goes down on a knee, gets up and guns him out.
There's another example of Ryan making sure on the play.
Jose Altuve will be the batter. He's 0 for 2. Mariano Rivera is wearing number 42, as you know. And this is the final time anybody will wear that number in a major league uniform. It's been retired in honor of Jackie Robinson. The Robinson family was in New York for Rivera's final game there. So every team has retired the number. But those who were wearing that number before it was officially retired were allowed to continue to wear it. He's the only one left. And this is the final day it'll be worn by a major league player. 2 balls and a strike to Altuve, who is 0 for 2. Marshall works the slider and gets a 2-1 count now. Back when Rivera made his appearance to get him his first major league save in '96, the top television show was ER. Most popular song of the year was the Macarena. Popped up. And there's Reynolds without number 2. You remember that? You guys used to do that, didn't you, Ash? Yeah, Macarena.
I think I stayed away from that. But
the top movie at the box office in '96 was Independence Day, Ash.
Will Smith?
Yeah. Gas cost $1.30 per gallon, and a postage stamp was 32 cents.
I think $1.30 per gallon of gas might be the most ludicrous comparison you made right there.
Dominguez has driven in the only run in this game. There's ball one. He singled to center field in the first inning. Major League Baseball had 2 fewer teams than now in 1996. Tampa Bay Rays and Arizona Diamondbacks had not come along yet. And only 11 of the current 30 stadiums were being used for baseball in '96.
Wow.
Times have changed. In the air, and the first baseman Reynolds gives chase to it. Now over into foul territory for a 1-2-3-6 for Marshall. 1-0 Houston.
Or New Mexico, CSN Houston covers the entire 5-state region, and we want your story ideas. Email us your ideas at regionalroundup@comcastsportsnet.com. Guys.
Thanks, Julia. We go to inning number 7, and it's still Eric Bedard out there. He's hit Travis Hafner twice with pitches in this game. That is strike 1. Josh Zeid is warming up for the Astros, anticipating this will be the last inning for Bedard. Bedard is at 91 pitches. And usually 100 is his limit. 1 ball, 1 strike, as you will recall from the no-hitter he had going. He was not interested in staying in that game and taxing his arm for the future because of all the surgeries he's had in order to pursue a no-hitter, which you couldn't possibly get without an extraordinarily high number of pitches, which might cost him physically. 1-2. Well, you have to say that he had the long haul in mind, and it's worked out for him.
Yeah, that no-hit bid was the one that probably threw some of us, but again, he's the guy that knows his body, and he's had so many problems in the past with his arm. Just didn't want to go there again, I guess.
It was against Seattle here in July 28th, and he lost the game 4-2. He gave up no hits in 6 1/3 innings, but 3 runs, one of them earned. Walked 5 and struck out 10 through 109 pitches. And when he left, it was 2-2 in the 7th inning. There was a man on base who later scored, so he was tagged with the loss. Very unusual night. Rolled out to VR at short. And that's out number 1. National League MVP Andrew McCutchen. Cy Young, Clayton Kershaw. What do you think?
I think it's a no-brainer on Kershaw. He's just been phenomenal, and you would expect maybe more wins than that, but look at the 1.83 ERA. And Andrew McCutchen, I think, is the popular choice for the National League MVP. The guy has been stellar. The Pirates have had such an amazing season, and I, for one, would like to see it go on for the Buccos.
Paul Goldschmidt has had a very fine year for Arizona. David Adams has struck out twice, but most of the voters like that MVP to be on a playoff team. And that proved that he indeed was valuable enough to help his team get to postseason play. Certainly not the case all the time.
I'm not a guy who needs the team to be a first place team for a guy to win the award. Where do you stand on that?
I agree with you. I think the problem is in the way the award is named. I wish they hadn't called it most valuable player.
I agree. 100%. Best player,
player of the year,
most outstanding player.
Yeah, that would make it a whole lot easier to try to choose someone for that award.
But regardless of how you name it, Paul Goldschmidt gets a lot of attention in the National League.
That's the 100th pitch for Bedard. It's 2-2.
Freddie Freeman has done a lot for the Atlanta Braves.
He really has.
Craig Kimbrell could be considered.
50 saves.
St. Louis Cardinals, if you're talking about the team that right now I might view as the best National League team. How about Matt Carpenter?
Oh,
what a year he's had.
Broke Stan Musial's club record for doubles in a season. Yeah.
Yadier Molina.
Here's another one. Adams strikes out. Did you see the final out of the Braves game last night involving Chris Johnson and his blow up in the dugout?
I did, and I didn't quite get the concept of what was going on. Did he throw a helmet that possibly hit Terry Pendleton?
That's what it looked like happened, yes. And Terry Pendleton, the Braves hitting coach, absolutely exploded, grabbed him by the chest, shook him. Quite an unusual blow up. Brendan Ryan's 1 for 2. Hits it in the air, and Altuve looks out to the center fielder Crow. It's a 1-2-3-7. That's probably it for Eric Bedard this season. 1-0 Astros.
Remind you to tune in to Chevy Hometown Kids every Saturday morning at 9:30 on CSN. Chevy Hometown Kids, where it's not about the score, but the experience. Welcome you back out to Minute Maid Park here, and as we look back, we reflect on some of the highlights of the season. Brett Oberholzer comes to mind for me, who we saw come up to make that spot start right after the All-Star break and earned a spot in the starting rotation. One of my favorite games, though, has to be the complete game shutout he threw against Seattle. He was fantastic that night. Definitely a highlight for other guys in the clubhouse as well. Jared Kozar telling me that this was one of his highlights of the year right here. Just a good sign of what's to come for this Astros club, guys.
Really liked the pace of the game when he was on the mound, the way he went into attack mode. He threw strike one a good percentage of the time, trusted in his stuff, and he knew what his plan was going to be and executed it. And he even got a pie in the face for doing it after that complete game shutout.
Like you, Brownie, I liked all of those things. I like that he can throw all of his pitches for a strike, a quality strike, down on the edges. That's the one thing I really noticed. A lot of left-handers tend not to have that kind of ability to get a lot of movement. What he does instead is spot it extremely well.
Chris Carter's ready to step up here in the bottom of the 7th inning. The crowd is still singing deep in the heart of Texas. Now he's ready to roll. And they'll fade the music so the game can resume.
I wonder if Andy Pettitte is singing along.
He might be. He should be singing after that performance last night. There's strike one to Carter. Carter has whiffed both times today. And by the way, that was just such a rare night last night for a pitcher to pitch a complete game in his final major league start. It's the third time it's happened in the last 25 years.
Well, complete games don't come along anymore. I felt a little concerned about predicting that it might turn into a complete game last night because you just don't see it anymore.
Yeah.
But I had a feeling that that's something Andy would like to bring home with him.
1-2 to Carter. Marshall pulls that one, and it's 2-2. It's actually Pettitte and one other pitcher in the last 25 years who have finished their careers with a complete game. Javier Vasquez did it with the 2011 Marlins. But Jose Cano did it with the '89 Astros. He had a very brief career. Robinson Cano's father, many of you don't remember him with the Astros. He pitched only 6 times in the '89 season. He had 3 starts, and his final major league start was a complete game for Houston.
I thought he was just Robinson Cano's home run derby pitcher.
He was that too, and he did an outstanding job. Lefty Cesar Cabral is warming up for the Yankees. Roll foul, still 3-2. 40,542 the attendance today. Robinson Cano with the day off today, joining his double play mate Derek Jeter. There's a whole lot of talent there standing in the Yankee dugout. But will Robinson Cano be back in a Yankee uniform? That's to be determined. Free agency beckons. That's ball 4. Back to the 9th inning for Andy Pettitte.
This was spectacular stuff. And I'm sure Joe Girardi was wondering how far to go with him, but then he got that first out quickly, gets his second one with another fly ball to right field. And it looked at that point like, well, maybe he sails. But with a base hit that followed from Chris Carter, this was the ground ball from J.D. Martinez to end it in. By the family, Andy, just the whole gang had to be as elated as they could be.
Another shot up the middle by J.D. Martinez. It goes into center field. Carter to second base on the single by Martinez. And runners are at first and second with nobody out in the Houston 7th with the bullpen warming up.
What I thought might have been a dangerous moment for Andy Pettitte last night was 2 outs in the 9th inning and Chris Carter at the plate. And Chris Carter can launch one at any given moment, just make one mistake, but he didn't make that mistake.
Brandon Laird is 0 for 2 with a fly ball to left and a strikeout. Trevor Crowe on deck. According to the Elias Sports Bureau, Pettitte became the first pitcher in 80 years and only the 4th in history to win at least 250 games and record a complete game win in his final appearance in the majors. Hall of Famers named Epa Rixey, Christy Mathewson did it along with Jim McCormick, who was way back in the 1870s and 80s. Select company for Andy Pettitte, and what a special moment for Astros fans to be able to witness that. No balls, 2 strikes to Laird. Mariano Rivera actually apologized to the fans here at the ballpark this weekend for not playing in any of these games.
Extremely classy, I thought. And he was straight up about it. He thought that moment in New York was something he wanted to be the end of his career.
Yeah. That's a strikeout from Marshall. And he'll face Trevor Crowe next. That was 0 for 2.
And for me, Brownie, I'm completely good with it. I thought what the Yankees did in New York was perfect for Mariano Rivera. And you just don't want to mess around with perfect.
Well, that's a good point. How do you top perfection? And Crowe with Carlos Corcoran on deck, looking for a big hit here with the Astros leading just 1-0 in the 7th. No strike one. When the Astros lead after 7 innings, their record is 39-16. But that's actually the worst in the majors with the team leading after 7. Marshall came up September 1st from Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Gets a swing there, and it's 0-2 for Brett Marshall. Made his major league debut back in May against Seattle. He worked 5 2/3 innings in that one. Throws down on strikes. Marshall now getting tough after a walk and a single. He struck out the next two, and Corcoran will bat.
Astros, Dynamos, Rockets, and more. We have all your sports and the news that surrounds it covered. Check out Sportsnet Central, presented by TXU, 7 days a week at 6, 10, and midnight, only on Comcast Sportsnet.
It's a great crew. You'll enjoy watching that show if you haven't already. Carlos Corcoran singled to left center in the second inning. Then he struck out looking in the fifth. And our thanks to all the folks in the studio who have made it so smooth for us this year. Marius Payton, Corey Hepler, Bill Dolman, and others. Ayla Rahimi, and many people involved in the Astros pregame live and Astros postgame live shows. So we'll leave somebody out.
All really good.
Yeah. Very talented bunch. Joy to work with them throughout the season. Even Blummer got a little tour of the studios last Thursday.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Kevin Eschenfelder stepped in the spring when somebody decided to get hurt a little bit and picked it right up beautifully.
He sure did. Kevin does a great show from 5 to 6 Monday through Friday. Bart Ennis helped us out on some games here. He's getting ready for Rocket season now. By Corcoran, takes it to 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tampa Bay is leading at Toronto at 7-4 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Very big game for the Rays, who have been faltering here. Cleveland leading 4-0 at Minnesota in the 7th. And Marshall strikes out 3 after giving up a walk and a single to keep the score 1-0 Astros moving to the 8th.
Are on sale right now. Lock in your seats by calling 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com.
Big crowd of 40,542. Tickets sold for this final game of the season. Josh Zeid comes in. And so these young Astros players now have had a chance to play before 3 consecutive big crowds here in their home ballpark at the end of the season, giving them a taste of what it will be like when times get better. And come opening day next year, of course, there will be a full house for the Yankees and Astros. Josh Zeid is 0-1, his ERA 3.67. He worked 2/3 of an inning last night, and he worked an inning and 2/3 Friday night, so 3 for 3 in home games to close the season for Josh.
We've talked about this oddity, but the lefties are taking the wrath of what Zeid brings. 178 the mark. Right-handers swinging it well. 305 against him.
Almonte stood to lead it off. Almonte is fly to right and struck out. Eric Bedard fantastic today. 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no walks, 9 strikeouts, 2 hit batsmen. Statistically his best start of the year.
Yeah, for Eric Bedard, that's going to be real comfy to tuck into his bags and head back home for the winter.
That's a foul ball. Kevin Chapman is warming up for the Astros. The lefty reliever, and Dylan Betances is warming up for the Yankees. He's a right-hander. Balls, 2 strikes. It's going to be wintering right here. That's a strikeout, and it's out number 1. We'll take a look now at our World Series matchup prediction, brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car, and this is what we think. We think the Dodgers will be meeting the Red Sox. Why do we think that, Ed?
Because I think the Red Sox will be there, and because you think the Dodgers will be there, and that's apparently the reasoning. Oh, those are some really good clubs. I do think the Red Sox have the best shot at getting to the World Series amongst the American League clubs. I like the Tigers earlier in the year. I just don't feel like they're really firing on all cylinders right now.
Well, they're sure not this weekend. There's a strike to Nunez.
But I might contend that from the National League, the Cardinals are an attractive club for me.
They really are. And certainly Detroit has had the postseason experience recently. Oakland's a good pick. There's a liner to left center field. Looks like a double. That bangs off the wall. Nunez into second base. For a 1-out 2-base hit. That's his 16th double of the year. Hit number 4 for the Yankees.
And as the stats say, it's the right-hand hitter who seems to have the best opportunity against Zide, at least presently. I have no idea why this might be, but the numbers are extremely skewed. That breaking ball out over the plate up a bit and just gets busted up.
The Yankee fans are stirred up. J.R. Murphy, the batter. He's 0 for 3, 2 punch-outs and a grounded to third. Good pitch for Zide. Strike one at 97.
His arm is legit. There is no question.
Yankees have scored 3 runs or fewer in 6 straight games. Longest stretch since 06 for them. It's 0-2 for Zide with Granderson on deck. And it might be Chapman coming in to face Granderson.
Really like the way Zide got away from kind of all the extreme moves he had with his stretch move when he first joined the club. Just kind of tightened it up, made it look a little more normal, and I just feel like he's come together considerably.
It's 1-2.
There was some hair on that heater.
He means it. 97 again. In that no-hitter by Henderson Alvarez of the Miami Marlins, the only run scored on a wild pitch with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Luke put Conan of the Tigers through the wild pitch. Swing and Murphy strikes out. That's 2 of those in the inning for Zide, and now it's Granderson coming up. But Bo Porter has other ideas. He has the lefty Chapman warmed up, and he's going right to Kevin Chapman.
Yeah, keep in mind, Josh Zide has eaten up lefties, but this is going to be lefty v lefty.
Chapman also has been extremely effective, and that's the matchup we'll see when we come back. 1-0 Houston. Just earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And time to flash back to Mariano Rivera's final game and the special pregame ceremonies here on the field at Minute Maid Park. As Astros president of business operations, Reed Ryan, general manager Jeff Luhnow, Roger Clemens, Joe Torre, Milo Hamilton greeted him. It was a special time leading up to the final game of the season.
Yeah, I thought they did a very nice job, and again, Joe Torre was just exceptionally good.
Now it's Curtis Granderson and Kevin Chapman squaring off. And strike one to Granderson. Granderson 1 for 3. That was a double to right center field off the lefty Bedard in the first inning. Left-handed hitters are hitting 143 against Kevin Chapman. They are 5 for 35 against Kevin. Bouts are up the middle, and that will get through into center field, and the tying run will come to the plate. Throw is not in time, and it's 1-1. And the RBI single by Granderson, his 15th run batted in.
If you happen to be one of those pitchers who kind of squares yourself up, can play defensively, you likely make this play routinely. But so many pitchers just have a tough time being that 5th infielder. Watch the ground ball. It just on one hop heads back there, but it's not easy to be in that fielding position.
Now Bo Porter's walking out. So Eric Bedard, with win number 5 of the season on the line when he left, now will get a no decision. And Chapman got a ground ball, but unfortunately it was right through the middle and on into center field to tie the game. With Vernon Wells coming up next. Chapman leaves, and right-hander Reiner Cruz has been called from the bullpen. And now in a 1-1 game, we'll see the next matchup right after this.
In the sports world, Kevin Eschenfelder has it covered with a fresh take and special guests you won't get anywhere else. Sports Talk Live, weekdays at 5 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Reiner Cruz is pitcher number 4 for the Astros. He comes in with a score tied 1-1 with Curtis Granderson at first at 2 outs in the 8th inning. And for 19 games with the Astros, he's 0-2 with a 3.43 ERA, giving up 25 hits and 11 walks in 21 innings. He was effective last night, 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit, no runs allowed.
And again, you can see right-hand hitters hitting .390 while the lefties hitting just down in the low 200s. So we got some numbers that are skewed opposite of what you might normally think in this Astros pen.
And then Wells shoots a line drive to Altuve. 1 pitch, and the final out comes Cruz's way. But the Yankees tied with a run on 2 hits and a man left. It's 1-1 in the 8th. Find our fares online only at Southwest.com. Partly cloudy day in downtown Houston. It's a 1-1 ball game inside the old train station. Union Station there, which for many years housed the trains. And the Yankees and Astros are tied 1-1. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Pitcher number 3 is in the game for Joe Girardi. He is the big right-hander. Dellin Betances. He's listed at 6'8" and 260. Born right there in New York City. And for the season in 5 games has an ERA of 20.25. Mark Krause will be pinch hitting for the Astros, as Jake Elmore was scheduled to lead it off here in the bottom of the 8th. Krause will be hitting for him.
Well, if numbers mean anything, limited opportunity numbers, I might add, the Astros might have a shot to get something going here. Just 2 2/3 innings, and been roughed up in that span.
Oh, he had been among their top prospects. Last year he was at AA Trenton and AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Did not have good ERAs in either place, but was on the DL with right shoulder inflammation. He had Tommy John surgery back in 2009. Made his major league debut in 11 with the Yankees, pitching only twice. Krause as a pinch hitter at 214 has 4 homers, 13 runs batted in. Elmore was 0 for 2. Krause takes a look at it. It's ball 1. Krause was in the starting lineup Friday night as a DH and cleanup man. He was 0 for 2 with a couple of walks in that one. Pretty selective hitter. That's in at 94 miles per hour for a 1-1 count now. Krause has been used 14 times as a pinch hitter by Bo Porter. He's 4 for 14. A little late on that swing, and it's 1-2. Brett Marshall in 2 innings allowed 1 hit and no runs for the Yankees, who walked 1 and fanned 3. Put on an impressive pyrotechnic display with those 3 straight strikeouts after the first 2 reached in the last inning. Showed good stuff. Well, the Blue Jays have come back to close to within 1 of the Rays. It's 7-6 Tampa Bay. And they are going to the bottom of the 9th in Toronto. It was 7-0 going to the bottom of the 6th. Tampa Bay getting 6 in the first. Krause puts that one in the air foul. What a devastating day that would be for Joe Madden if this one gets away from the Rays.
Well, you mentioned how the Rays have slipped here recently, losing their last couple of games. They had been playing great baseball leading up to that and looked like they were not going to let loose of that lead for the wild card. Shows how quickly things can change.
Krause swings and misses. There's the throw to first base for the strikeout, and out number 1. Jonathan Villar will follow. Villar with a first inning double scored the run for the Astros on a Dominguez single. He's 1 for 3. Fernando Rodney is in for the Rays, trying to pull that arrow out of the quiver and shoot it into the sky after another Rays win and another Rodney save. That's another thing about Mariano Rivera that so many old school people appreciate. No histrionics whatsoever after a Rivera save.
Zero. It was a professional outing. And boy, I think a lot of guys could learn from him. I'm not sure they will.
1-1. Incidentally, we mentioned the Chris Johnson episode last night on the bench with Braves coach Terry Pendleton. Chris has apologized to TP, according to stories today. Now 2 balls and a strike, and VR with his speed trying to create some havoc by reaching base here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Corner infielders are in tight because of his speed, because of his bunting. He smacks a line drive to left, and Wells is back for the count. 2 outs.
Back to what I was saying about VR, that left-handed stroke is short, sweet down through the baseball, and he'll sting it going the other way. There's the barrel drop through the baseball. He is real solid. And again, from the other side, more of a power type stroke, but this is going to create a lot of base hits, doubles, gappers going the other way.
Strike 2 Altuve. Jose 0 for 3. Has rarely been 0 for in September. Breaking pitch makes it, and 0-2 count for Altuve with Dominguez on deck. The Yankees have Reynolds, Hafner, and Adams due up in the 9th inning. In the dirt for a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Will Myers has hit a couple of doubles today for Tampa Bay. He's been a big factor in their stretch run. Could be Rookie of the Year in the American League. It could be his teammate Chris Archer as well. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I like Chris Archer a lot. Will Myers has been an everyday guy and playing like a guy who's been around and knows what he's doing.
He smacks that one toward the Astros dugout. Take a look at his season quickly, Ash.
You know, he got off to a great start to the year, then slowed down with the bat and has heated up, but he's played solidly in so many phases, stealing a lot of bags this year, occasional pop with the home run. Jose Altuve is a genuine player, and you compare his numbers offensively with second basemen around the game. There are some very good second basemen, yes. And Robinson Cano probably heads the list, but this guy's among them. He's really solid.
He's one of the core players on the Astros for 2014 now. And really the only guy who was established in the starting lineup in Bo Porter's mind in spring training of this year.
We talked earlier about Matt Carpenter of the Cardinals. He has vaulted himself among, if not right to the top along with Cano in terms of top second baseman in the game.
He really has. Altuve shoots one to second base. A looping liner caught by Adams. It's a 1-2-3-8. We move to the 9th, tied at 1.
Hornsby says, people ask me what I do in winter when there's no baseball. I'll tell you what I do. I stare out the window and wait for spring. Very fitting quote as we wrap up the season here today. And for me personally, it will be a little strange not heading to the ballpark here in the next few days, next few months. I've spent almost every game next to this Astros dugout here and on the road, and I've enjoyed every single moment of it, starting with the Astros organization, the fans I've met on the road. The team's been great, and then the guys in the truck right now that are listening, and you guys in the booth, including Blummer, have just made this year so much fun for me and made me a better person, and just really love the game even more than I thought I ever could. Thank you.
Well, we're lucky to have you with us. Thanks, Julia. It's been really enjoyable this year. Mark Reynolds leading it off now as Josh Fields has come in. He's pitcher number 5 for Bo Porter.
I want to make sure to be able to throw in my thanks as well to Julia and to everybody you've mentioned, Brownie.
Reynolds is 0 for 3. There's ball 1. You realize, and Jeff Blum got a sense of this when he went out to the truck, how many people are involved in a venture like this. Fields is 1 and 3 with a 5.11 ERA, 5 saves and 6 opportunities, pitching for the 3rd time in this 3-game series. And that's in the air, and the shortstop VR is looking up at it, motioning Altuve to get out of his way. He has fun on pop-ups. 1 out.
I think he has fun playing the game, and I think he probably gets frustrated a bit at limitations that maybe he feels are put on him in terms of making mistakes. But when you come to this level, mistakes have to be stopped.
That could be trouble for some of us then next year if you're going to put it that way.
Well, I didn't mean that to include everybody.
Oh, good. Travis Hafner is 0 for 1. He's been hit by pitches twice. Indians 5, Twins 1 at the end of 7 in Minnesota. Ubaldo Jimenez had a strong game for Cleveland. He's gotten hot at the right time. Fouled away for strike 1, and what a finishing kick that would be for Terry Francona and a strong manager of the year candidate if they wind up winning today for a 10-game winning streak at the end of the season.
I guess it ultimately doesn't matter when it happens, but it sure is impressive when it happens right down the wire as you move yourself into postseason play.
It's 0-2. If this should be decided by 1 run, the Yankees have won both of the games in this series by 1. They are 30-16 in 1-run games, best record in the majors. The Astros are 18-36. It's 1-2. You know, we've talked about that until we're probably green in the face, right? But 1-run games, there is a luck factor involved in 1-run games.
Kind of falls back to that stat category thing that could turn right around next year. Of course, to turn around, you've got to become a better ball club. But I don't know that it means as much as people might think.
Throw back in left center field. 2 outs.
Imagine you could sort through all 30 major league teams and get surprised at some that do have good records in 1-run games, and also by clubs that are quite good and yet don't have special records in that regard.
Yeah. Adams is 0 for 3 with 3 punch outs. Well, teams that are outstanding, exceptional, probably don't play that many 1-run games because they win by more than 1 when they win.
That might be true for the Boston Red Sox, who pitch really well and swing the bats great.
That's fouled away, strike 1.
Yeah, that's a great point, Brownie. Imagine the Tigers could be there as well.
Yeah, and in fact, prior to last night, the Astros were last in the American League in saves with 32. What team was next to last in the American League in saves? Boston with 33.
Yeah, probably because they didn't have those games that had a 3-run differential at the end very often.
Exactly. 1 ball, 1 strike, and yet when they have had those save situations, Koji Uehara has been one of the best around. Brendan Ryan is on deck. Yankees about hit the Astros 5-4. No errors today. Fields drops a curveball in, and it's 1-2. And just looking at Reiner Cruz, who, by the way, retired the only batter he faced in the 8th inning. Cruz was a Rule 5 pick last year for the Astros, and now Fields was their Rule 5 choice this year in the bullpen. So they picked up 2 bullpen arms in the last 2 years via the Rule 5 choices. And yet they're still going to be searching on the free agent market for late inning relief help. Will Porter and Jeff Luhnow have been conferring about the needs for next season. And Jeff has made it pretty clear he'll be on the hunt. It's 3-2. Rangers are leading the Angels 2-1. They're in the last of the fifth in Arlington, Texas. And another MVP candidate, Mr. Mike Trout, has hit his 27th home run for the Angels. Yu Darvish pitching. Jason Vargas started the game for the Angelinos. Driven to right field. J.D. Martinez backing all the way back to the wall. It's off the wall. He falls down. Trevor Crowe has to come over and pick it up. And now here's Adams racing for third, and Altuve's throw offline. A two-out triple by Adams. And Martinez crashed hard into that padding in right field.
That was all out by J.D. Martinez in right. Start to wonder with that short wall, is this ball going to stay in the yard? With that fastball up out over the plate, that's what you want to do with it. And he puts the barrel on it almost enough to provide a run. That's keeping the eyes on the baseball. Ball doesn't hit high off the wall. Probably what you could call a catchable ball.
J.D. has played more left field than right. Now it's Ryan batting. Brendan Ryan 1 for 3. David Robertson is warming up for the Yankees. Pops it up, but it's out of play for Carlos Corker and strike one. Almonte on deck. One memorable final game of the season for the Astros was back in '92, Ash, in the Astrodome. Doug Harvey was retiring as an umpire, and he had told all the players involved for both teams that they had better be swinging the bats at home plate because he wanted a quick game in his finale. That game took an hour and 44 minutes. Pete Harnisch pitched for the Astros.
Not rare that umpires will extend the zone a little bit on the last day. I think maybe less so today than maybe we saw in those days. But yeah, that's a legendary story about Doug Harvey, who was a terrific umpire. But I do recall some days you get that last game of the season, sometimes even last game before the All-Star break, and you'd hear this rumor floating around. Swing the bats today, guys. Strike zone's going to be a little bit larger.
Well, this one has been played at a brisk pace. We've had three really interesting ball games here between the Yankees and Astros. 3-2 Yankees Friday night. Last night 2-1 Yankees, a complete game win for Andy Pettitte. And 1-1 in the ninth inning today. Swing and a miss for Fields. He strikes out Ryan. That ends the top of the ninth. With a runner stranded at third base, we go to the bottom of the ninth, and it's tied at 1.
Anderson. One of the guys that's made some improvements this year. Matt Dominguez, defensively, he's always had this ability. And I mean exceptional ability, but with the bat, he's turned himself into a guy that you can really count on in big situations. Gets the big swings, provides it time after time, and he will launch some baseballs. He's turned into a home run hitting third baseman, and that's what you like, especially when that third baseman can really play with the leather.
He is 1 for 3. He has the lone Astros RBI. This ball one from Dellin Betances, who came in for a 1-2-3 eighth inning. Lucas Harrell is warming up for the Astros. Carter and Martinez scheduled to follow Dominguez. That's called a strike by Bill Miller, and that evens a count at 1-1.
Suggests you'll see at least one very healthy swing by Matt in this sequence.
It's 1-2.
Well, My suggestion might be putting the pressure on, but one thing he has done is just get great swings one after another when this club needs it.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Domingo. Somebody asked, why do you call him Domingo when you have Domingo Santana in the minor leagues, and he'll probably be with the Astros soon.
Can you say?
We're not thinking about that right now. It'll happen. When the time comes, we'll deal with it, won't we? 3-2.
Well, I think it's because the guys on the club call him Domingo, right?
That might be it.
Yeah.
We just take our cue from them. That's strike 3, and out number 1 here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Well, I apparently completely locked down Matt Dominguez. That last pitch, a tough one.
You jinxed him. Chris Carter is 0 for 2 with a walk. You're not allowed to say anything about Chris Carter now.
I'm just going to sit here and watch and applaud.
He could end the season with his 30th home run. That's a breaking pitch, of course, and that's strike 1. Astros have 10 wins in their final at bat. They've had 1 walk-off homer. 1-1 for Carter. 14 consecutive losses for the Astros, bringing them here to the 9th inning in the final game. 1-2.
That fastball was right there where Chris would like to see it again, I'm sure.
He fouls it back. The walk-off home run was by Carlos Pena here in the bottom of the 10th inning against Milwaukee, May 6th. Or rather, June 20th was the date on that. Tap foul. The Astros had hoped that Carlos Pena and Rick Ankiel could provide a fair amount of power this season. That didn't work out. But Carter has remained the best power producer on this club. How's it back? Orioles are leading the Red Sox 7-5. They're in Baltimore in the middle of the 8th inning. Kobe Ellsbury with his 9th home run for Boston. Now 2-2 for Carter.
99 on that cheese.
See why he was highly regarded. Strikeout number 3 for Dylan Betances. 2 outs in the 9th.
Watching this, I'm not sure how those numbers became so inflated coming in the previous 2 2/3 innings.
See, 13 strikeout of the day for the Astros, giving them 1,529 for the season. That ties the all-time record for strikeouts by a major league club in a season. Arizona Diamondbacks the first to do it in 2010. Strike to Martinez. He was 1 for 3.
It's rather remarkable. You could hit right on that same lofty number.
And it sails, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. That's a lot of strikeouts. The record will probably be broken again soon by some other team. That's the trend in baseball. 2 balls and 1 strike.
This thing is not over.
Way outside, and it's 3-1 to Martinez. Gaddis hit his 21st home run for Atlanta. The Braves lead the Phillies 10-5 in the top of the 8th. Cardinals are shutting out the Cubs 4-0 in St. Louis at the top of the 9th inning. It's in for a strike, and it's a full count on Martinez with Laird waiting next.
Mark Reynolds, the first baseman for the Yankees today. Big part of why the Diamondbacks were able to set that previous mark. 211 strikeouts that year. Mark Reynolds has been no stranger to the punch out.
That's strike 3. 3 more strikeouts, and now the Astros own the mark. 1,530 strikeouts for a season. It's 1-1 extra innings. Wow, it cleared up outside. It's a sunny day outside Minute Maid Park.
Is that what you're seeing?
Gorgeous day out there. Did you see that shot?
No, I didn't. I missed it all of a sudden. But
wow,
what did we see?
That weather really, all the clouds went away, Ash. So clouds are broken, and maybe there will be a decision. Chris Harrell, as the Astros go to extra innings on their final day, is 6-16. His ERA 5.80. He's worked 149 innings, giving up 169 hits. The troublesome figure is the 88 walks.
And again, it's the right-hand hitters flourishing. 333 the mark. Well, lefties have hit just 254.
Zoila Almonte looks at ball 1. Chris Harrell lives here in Houston now, native of Springfield, Missouri. Loves the winter times. Plans to play some golf. He pumps that in for a strike, and that makes it 1-1. Josh Fields in 1 inning, allowed 1 hit, no runs, had no walks, and 1 strikeout. Astros pitchers have not walked any Yankees today. There have been 2 hit batters. It's a 2-ball, 1 strike count. Congratulations to Eric Young Jr., who has won the stolen base crown in the National League. Fly ball, deep center field. Throw backing. 1 down. Ewi's son, Eric, playing with the Mets, who won today 3-2 over the Brewers. And Ewi told him, just let it happen, let it fly. Well, he did. On the final day of the season, he won the National League stolen base crown. So there's Ewi and Marius Payton getting ready to go on the air with Astros postgame live. And he'll know that. Popped up by Nunez. Jonathan VR for out number 2.
Ewi Jr. was with the Rockies at the start of the year, right? And I believe they let him go.
Yeah, and he's found a new home with the Mets. He's been playing every day. And Gene Segura was tied with him with 44 steals coming into the day. Segura has been out with an injury, a strained right hamstring. So the Mets got Ewi that stolen base crown. He stole 2 bases in the first. He scored on a shallow sacrifice fly and later threw out a runner at the plate from left field. Quite a day for Eric Young Jr. Strike to Murphy, and that's 0-2. He's 0 for 4 in this game. Tampa Bay Rays have won their game at Toronto, and that clinches at least a wild card tie for them. It was 7-6 Rays, and Matt Moore won it. He is 17-4. Todd Redmond is 4-3. Fernando Rodney got his 37th save.
It's hard though when you've got to use the top end guys out of the pitching rotation to be able to win those final games.
Well, that's an excellent point, Ash. Now a crapshoot, a 1-game playoff, or maybe a playoff to get into that 1-game playoff. So that'll test any team's pitching depth. VR comes in for it and just gets the out on Murphy to send this game to the bottom of the 10th inning, tied at 1. Andy Pettitte watches from across the way. He doesn't have far to go. A lot of these players will be Boarding that team plane going back to New York, but Andy need not do that. Just a few miles away is his home in Deer Park, Texas. CC Sabathia has a home in a different location, and he's been trying to pitch through hamstring miseries for weeks now. Finally wound up being shut down, so the Yankees are hoping for a bounce-back year from Sabathia next year, Ash.
I was wondering about Andy, whether he'd need to go back to New York, gather up his belongings, and bring them on back home, but I imagine at this stage of things that he can probably, he's either already done it or somebody can take care of that for Andy.
You bet.
He's got business to attend to.
Well, he said he would be very involved with his church and his family, and you know that Andy's going to be a great contributor to this community. You know, we're really blessed in this area. We have so many former players who live here. You know, the Biggios and the Bagwells,
yep.
and all the guys you see at Astros golf tournaments. You know, Bob Aspermani, Carl Warwick, Jimmy Wynn. We could go on and on and on. But these are solid contributors to the community.
Great guys, and you're dead on. And there are a lot of athletes from other sports as well staying put in Houston, and it's just a great place to settle in.
Brandon Laird, the batter. It's a breaking pitch from Dellin Betances. There's strike one. Betances has retired 6 in a row since he came in the 8th inning. He's pitcher number 3 for Joe Girardi. Broken bat fly ball to center field. Granderson. 1 out. A relief performance so far by Betances. Trevor Crow comes up. He's 0 for 3. Alex Rodriguez, of course, heading back to New York to begin his arbitration proceedings tomorrow. Mariano Rivera eventually will wind up going back to Panama. He's the son of a fisherman. And he will do a lot of great things in that country and probably around the world. He's a terrific humanitarian. When Rivera got his first major league save in May of '96, Phil Hughes was 9. David Robertson had just turned 11, and both were about to finish the 4th grade. Now we have a change as Betances is taken out of the game. It's 1-1 in the 10th. We'll be right back.
A good chance to talk about Brandon Barnes. Some of the great stuff he's done this year. Yeah, you start with defense. I mean, he has been so good, roaming all over the place, crashing into walls. He doesn't care. He makes the diving play in front just as well as the one back over his head. Brandon Barnes has been spectacular at the wall time and time again. I mean, he's really shown himself as a big-time center fielder. Up and over on top of that. And with the bat, he's had his moments as well. Brandon Barnes not playing this afternoon, but he's compiled a terrific defensive season.
Very good year for Brandon Barnes. Trevor Crow's the batter. In the game, it's Preston Claiborne. And he went for that pitch inside and smacked it foul. Strike one. It would be hard to hit a pitch like that fair from the location of it. Claiborne worked a hitless inning Friday night in the Yankees 3-2 win. Carlos Corcoran on deck. Claiborne 0-2 with a 4.17 ERA.
Trevor Crow would like to continue with the trend there with lefties raking him at .330.
Looks like that pitch running away, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Betances in 2 1/3 innings, no hits, no runs. Didn't walk anybody, and he fanned 4, retiring 7 in a row. 10 straight Astros have been retired going back to the 7th inning. That's after they had a walk and a single to start that 7th inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes. In that Tampa Bay win 7-6 at Toronto, the Rays got off to a 6-0 lead after 1/2 inning. And it was their highest scoring first inning since 2010. They began the final day of the regular season tied with Texas for that second wild card spot. Both 1 game behind Cleveland. That's a strikeout, and it's out number 2. How about a guy hitting for the cycle? Brandon Barnes did that.
Yeah, that was a bit impressive, too. And he he has shown some very impressive pop at times. Doesn't hit a load of home runs, but when he does, they are of the impressive variety. And when he knows he needs to go, he can do it. That was the triple in the cycle. Shot the single through the right side, then still needed a double. And this bullet down the right field line was just the perfect opportunity. It was close. A great throw at the bag, and yet that dive in there for the cycle. Very exciting moment on the season.
Foul by Carlos Corcoran for strike one. He's 1 for 3.
I don't know, reflecting back on the entire year, how did that one fit in, that cycle moment in terms of great moments for the club?
Well, it had to rank up pretty high, and it was fun to watch it evolve. The last hit was a double, and he stretched that and barely beat it at second. So everybody was involved in rooting for him to do that.
Brandon was also involved in some other huge club moments. Game-winning, couple of game winners.
Yeah.
Caught one at the wall in Detroit to pick up a win for the club. Led by Miguel Cabrera out into deep right center.
In addition to that, he's become such a solid guy in the clubhouse, and for a young team, one of the leaders. And Matt Dominguez is getting credit in the media for being another very quiet team leader. Just
he is
the way
quiet,
he carries himself.
Yeah, you're right, and I think he is one of the leaders in terms of what goes on between the lines.
Strike to Crawford, and that makes it 1-2. In extra inning games, the Astros are 4-7. The Yankees are 5-6. Oakland got 4 in the second at Seattle and leads the Mariners 4-0. Rangers lead the Angels 3-2. They're in the bottom of the 6th at Texas. They finished that game in a driving rain yesterday. Hook on the ground to third, backhanded Nunez, throwing on the run, and that's a perfect throw over to Reynolds to end the 10th inning and send this game to the 11th, tied at 1. It's 1-1, and it's been 1-1 since the Yankees tied it in the 8th inning with a 2-out single by Curtis Granderson. And now this game will move to the 11th inning. Lucas Harrell came in the 10th. He had a 1-2-3 frame. It'll be the 3-4-5 Yankee hitters, 2 up against Harrell in the 11th. Granderson is number 3, and he is 2 for 4 in this game with that game-tying single in the 8th. There's a ground ball right back up the middle off lefty reliever Kevin Chapman. The only man Chapman faced, and the run was charged to Josh Zide, who in 2/3 of an inning allowed 1 hit, 1 run. So a clutch 2-out hit by Granderson put the Yankees on the board for the first time, and they have had 6 hits to the Astros 4. Anderson in the box and ready to go. Carter near the line at first base. Broken bat roller. Altuve comes in and to his right. One pitch, 1 out for Harrell. That's the way Lucas Harrell did it so often last season. A lot of guys on 1 pitch.
That's what I saw in the spring. Lucas Harrell was a strike pumper down in the strike zone, got a lot of ground balls, made it look easy, and he had a genuine battle for who was going to be opening day starter.
Vernon Wells is 0 for 4. Strike 1 to him. The Orioles beat the Red Sox in Baltimore 7-6. McFarland the winner. De La Rosa lost it. Dominguez, 2 outs and 3 pitches. And it'll be Reynolds next. Reynolds 0 for 4. Braves are pounding the Phillies 12-5. They're in the top of the 9th in Atlanta. Craig Kimbrell is in the game with a 12-5 lead. Probably because they're going to get a few days off now. There's a strike. Cardinals blank the Cubs 4-0. Joe Kelly won his 10th, beating Jeff Samardzija. It's 1-1. Cardinals finishing 97-65. The Braves, if they win, will be 96-66. ball, makes it 1-2. Royals beat the White Sox in Chicago 4-1, giving Bruce Chen his 9th win. Jose Quintana the loser. Greg Holland got his 47th save. Royals club made good strides this year with 86 wins and 76 losses.
They were good.
Indians 5, Twins 1. That's a final from Minnesota. Ubaldo Jimenez going to 13-9, beating Scott Diamond. He's 6-13. Nick Swisher hit his 22nd. So the Indians have 92 wins and 70 losses. They're atop the heap in the wild card race. Tampa Bay 1 game back. Texas has a chance to tie Tampa Bay. Rolled out to shortstop. VR's left. Across and throwing low, and Carter digs it. That's a 9-pitch inning. And in the top of the 11th, the Yankees go down in order. It's still 1-0. Test move to extra innings now. Wondering how it's going to be resolved on the final day of the season. Extra innings. And right-hander David Phelps is warming up for the Yankees. He'll be pitcher number 5 for Joe Girardi. Claiborne in 2/3 of an inning, allowed no hits, no runs, had a strikeout. Phelps 6-5 with a 5.04 ERA.
Eight home runs allowed. So we'll see if somebody can get a big swing here. Mark Krause gets the first shot.
Well, Robbie Grossman would love to be playing today, but he's one of those guys who's been shut down with that side injury, and Robbie made a bid for a lot of playing time in 2014 this year.
Did he ever? When he came back up from the minor leagues, his left-handed stroke just underwent some major changes in shortness to the baseball, and at the same time generating power. He also had the power from the right side driving this one out. But we saw a different Robbie Grossman, a guy who looked like he could be a viable left fielder on this club. And he's not prototypically what you think of. You think of maybe a big guy who pounds home runs. Robbie looked like a guy who can actually hit some home runs and play solid defense at the same time.
Strike 1 to Mark Krause. It's strike 2 to Mark Krause, who was a pinch hitter for Elmore in the 8th inning, struck out. Phelps win 1 2/3 innings Friday night, giving up 1 hit and 2 runs. He had a couple of walks and a strikeout, and the Yankees 3-2 win. 1 ball, 2 strikes for David Phelps. Primarily a starter this year for the Yankees. 26 years old, from St. Louis, Missouri, went to Notre Dame. 14th round pick of the Yankees in 08. Off the corner.
Well, Mark Krause has taken a couple of callable pitches with 2 strikes on him. It's loosen it up and let it fly time.
You want him to end this thing right here?
I wouldn't make any complaints at all. See the team break out of this losing streak.
I agree.
You just can't keep taking one after another. Again, 3 callable pitches. Jose Ho's another one of the guys who has gone about his business quite well. Right field stroke hitter. Back up the middle as well. Shows occasional pop with the bat, but he'll drive the ball the other way. And he played a solid right field for the ball club. Runs well enough to steal some bags. LJ Ho's an intriguing guy when you look toward 2014.
That was the 16th Yankee strikeout of the day. Jonathan VR is 1 for 4. He takes strike 1.
You know, one of the things I fear about guys that have reputations of drawing walks is that they take a lot of close pitches.
Yep. A late swing there by VR. 0-2. Astros strikeout high in the game this year, 18 against Detroit May 2nd.
Now, of course, some people are going to point out some names that are clearly guys that are just great hitters. Well, that's the reason they draw a lot of walks, is pitchers fear them.
That's strike 3. strikeouts by the Yankee pitching. There's only been one walk in this game by Marshall in the 7th inning. Altuve is 0 for 4. One with Dominguez on deck. Rockies lead 2-0 at Los Angeles. They're in the middle of the 4th inning. Now all the focus on the scoreboard watchers is on that game in Arlington, Texas, where the Rangers lead the Angels 3-2 in the top of the 7th inning. Rangers need a win to get in the mix for this wild card playoff. 1-2.
Oh, this has been one taking inning.
The Rangers don't secure that one, they're out of the postseason. With Cleveland and Tampa Bay, the 2 wild card occupants in the American League. 2-2. Count to Altuve. Altuve has walked 31 times this season. He's had 625 at bats. That's another walk for him. And he's aboard with 2 outs for Dominguez. Check in on the wild card. Cleveland now 92-70 with a win today. Tampa Bay 91-71 with a win today. The Rangers need win number 91 or they will not be going to the postseason.
What do you think? We're going to see some baseball going on tomorrow?
I think so. I think they'll win. Dominguez 1 for 4. He drove in the Astros run in the 1st. Strike 1.
Not that the Angels might present a problem for the Rangers in that series, but Texas taking care of business to this point.
Well, to Ron Washington and his players' credit, we're bearing down here at the end after faltering earlier in the month. Hot shot to third. Nunez throwing to second for the force on Altuve to send this game to the 12th. Still tied at 1. For Lucas Harrell, and earlier today Mariano Rivera, the focus on the field as he was honored and presented with a painting of his career by Opie Otterstad. Special moment on the final day of the season.
Of course, Mariano's been doing this now as he's made his magical mystery tour, I guess, around all the ballparks for the final time.
Did you like what the Minnesota Twins gave him?
What was that?
A rocking chair made out of broken bats.
Oh yes, I did see that. Yeah, broken handles and stuff. It was like it wasn't even complete in some areas because the bats were shattered so bad.
What a nice original gift.
That was cool.
Hafner's 0 for 2. He's been hit by pitches twice.
What artist, famous artist, provided that?
Well, he certainly has broken so many bats throughout his career with that cutter that it was an appropriate gift. This is the Astros gift, painted by Opie Otterstad.
Got that autograph there from Mariano.
Something.
And the people, including Hank Aaron, Joe Torre, and Bobby Cox, and Derek Jeter.
The voice of Reed Ryan in the background.
There you guys go. Pull it back.
Famous scenes from Rivera's terrific career. Seemed to love it. Broken bat grounder here to BR. And that's out number 1 as Hafner is retired. The all-time save leaders are Mariano with 652, Trevor Hoffman 601. Then you go down to Lee Smith, John Franco, Billy Wagner, and the others. And Mariano is similar to me to Billy Wagner in that in the final year of his career, he looked to be in about mid-career form. You know, everybody would want him to come back if he hadn't made it clear that this was it. And the same is true of Billy Wagner. The Braves tried to beg him to come back, and he said, no, I'm shutting it down.
I think Joe Girardi, the skipper of the Yankees, is in complete agreement with you, Brownie. He wanted Mariano to change his mind. You can give back all those gifts you've been getting. Just come on back and play some baseball.
Yeah. Adams, the batter, he tripled in the 9th inning with 2 outs and then was stranded at 3rd. Bangs that one off the ground, 1 and 2. And the Sports Illustrated story written last week by Tom Verducci was so poignant about Rivera. He told about how, and he did it here at Minute Maid as well, he has met with a lot of the behind-the-scenes workers at ballparks who never get a chance to meet baseball players. And some of them had tough luck stories, and he did share what he could to help them out in some way. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Matt Daly warming up for the Yankees.
It's really thinking out of the normal box for a ball player.
Yes.
Just even to do what Rivera did today, to apologize to the fans here in Houston that he didn't perform here in this series, realizing these folks wanted to see him.
Oh, strike 3. And Adams was on his way to first when rung up. 2 outs. That's 8 straight outs for Harold.
I think the message has been made here this afternoon, swing the bats, but this was New York for Rivera, and you just can't have a better moment. And I think I'm in complete concurrence with let that do.
We're fine with it. Brendan Ryan, the batter, pops it up. Carter waiting. And a foul pop takes care of the final out in the top of the 12th inning, and Mariano Rivera finished his career fittingly in Yankee Stadium. Be facing pitcher number 6 for Joe Girardi. He is right-hander Matt Daly, born in Flushing, New York. And he went to Bucknell University. He has no decisions in 6 games and an ERA of 0, giving up 2 hits and no walks in 4 innings.
Pretty tidy numbers there on the batting averages against. What's a guy from Flushing doing playing for the Yanks?
Well, he started with the Colorado Rockies, so it took him a while to get back home.
He's supposed to play for the Metsies.
He is, you're right. He missed the 2012 season, then moved on to the Yankee franchise, where his numbers are glittering so far. You know, one more story about Mariano Rivera, from that Sports Illustrated article bears telling, and that was after his only World Series loss. And that was on the Luis Gonzalez game winner in 2001. Arizona Diamondbacks winning it. Mariano Rivera apparently after games likes to go ahead and take a shower and get changed and then meet with the writers and the TV people, radio folks. He was at his locker after getting dressed when wave after wave of writers, broadcasters came in and interviewed him. He stood there and repeated time after time after time and answered all questions. That is rare.
Yeah, it might be even less than rare. It's, you know, it's hard. It's hard to stand up and say at one time when, you know, your dreams are snatched away, when a World Series victory goes away, and you might feel like you're the cause of it. Takes a lot of class.
Carter, there's one, and it's on the infield to second base to Adams. For out number 1 for Daly. Well, we have these from Bloomberg, their best awards, and starting pitcher Clayton Kershaw, offensive player Mike Trout. Trout's getting a lot of support for MVP in the American League. Koji Uehara, the reliever. Then Gene Segura, the offensive rookie. Jose Fernandez, the rookie pitcher. Those are Bloomberg's ideas.
I'm intrigued on that Mike Trout. I love what he's done. I mean, he just blows me away every time I see him play. But I don't know. I'm sure you've looked at the offensive WAR numbers. He's out in front of Miguel Cabrera.
That's why a lot of the statistical folks are supporting him. The people who really crunch numbers. Yep. 4 balls, 2 strikes.
You mentioned that Trout hit another dinger today, his 27th. He steals bags. Plays way better defense than what the WAR numbers are trying to indicate right now. But yeah, I think he's most well-rounded, outstanding player in the game.
There's a strikeout for Daly. That's number 18 for Yankees pitching. Astros club record 20 strikeouts. That was against Kerry Wood at Chicago's Wrigley Field, May 6, 1998. Now Brett Wallace is the pinch hitter for Brandon Laird. At 222, Wallace has 13 homers. He has 36 runs batted in. Got his first pinch hit of the season. That was a 2-run double in the 7th inning Friday night. And the Astros 3-2 loss here. He drove that ball a long way to right center. Strike one to Wallace.
I don't think 18-plus strikeouts was the kind of game you wanted to tuck away into the off-season.
No, that's not what you're shooting for. Well, when you've lost to 110, there are a lot of things you weren't shooting for.
That's the truth.
One ball, one strike. And yet, you know, some of the experts who really follow all the teams' minor leagues feel that the Astros are positioned the best, we'll say 3 years from now, of any of the organizations as far as potential prospects coming up and helping the big league club.
Yeah, I think we all hope that is true. The one reality that I think when you're around the game for a while is that prospects are that until they become viable major league players. It's still a hopeful. But you'd rather have them than not, that's for certain.
Indians have their first postseason berth since '07 by virtue of their win today. That's a foul tip strikeout. We go to the 13th inning, still tied 1-1.
Between the Yankees and the Astros. So the offseason not starting just yet for these Astros, but when it does, most of these guys taking time off, spending time with their families. They'll give it a few weeks and then they'll start working out. Bo Porter saying today there's about 13 of these guys that will stay in Houston and will work out together. It's something he thinks is really important, guys.
Thanks, Julia. Almonte leading it off here in the 13th. We thought you left the building, Julia.
Not yet. I'm here. I'm here to the finish.
Very good. Well, Lucas Harrell might be too. He's in his 4th inning of work now. And it's a 2-0 count to Almonte. Almonte is 0 for 4. 6 hits for the Yankees, 4 hits for the Astros. No errors by either team. A hit through the right side for Almonte. That's the Yankees' first hit since the 9th.
Do you remember Julia way back in Chicago showing that hitting form?
Yep.
Oh, boy.
You know, I don't know that Miguel Cabrera could hit any better in those shoes.
No.
In heels.
Yeah.
Note the heels.
We noted that.
She took out the camera guy.
She's got no fear. That thing is, we don't know who that is pitching either.
No.
It was Clemens.
That was Mariano Rivera came in for that, didn't he?
That's right.
Runner takes off for second. There's a bouncer. And Altuve with a quick flip. Safe at second base. Almonte was moving on the pitch. Nunez hit the grounder, and then Altuve tried to quick flip to VR, but it's safe at second. It's first and second, nobody out.
Just want to note that Jim DeShays has checked in. It says, really? 12th inning?
Yeah.
Let's see. That's one you might want to hang on to right there. But I think he was going to be safe one way or the other. How can you not be sliding into the bag on that play?
Very good question.
How do you stand up?
Only Mr. Almonte can answer that.
And I imagine Joe Girardi's asking that question.
That is an error. We'll wait to see who gets it. J.R. Murphy's up there. The Astros expect a bunt from him. He's 0 for 5. So J.D. is finished for the season. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's what it's sounding like based on the text I got.
Have you ever known him to watch a game when he's finished with his final game of the year?
No, but it sounds like he found a chance to mock us and he chose to dig in pretty hard.
Sounds like an imposter, J.D.
You think?
Well, they talk it over. Harrell and Corcoran. Now Thompson with signs for Murphy, with Granderson on deck. 7 hits for the Yankees now. The error was the Astros' first of the game. Showing Bond, Murphy takes this 1-0. Rangers lead the Angels 4-2. They're in the bottom of the 7th now in Texas. The error was charged to VR for dropping that quick flip.
Yeah, I don't know that I can go that direction, because I think the runner was safe anyway. But like I say, though, pretty good toss to hang on to. Never know what kind of call you might get.
I think Sabathia, Pettit, and Jeter are thinking right now.
You're kidding me? I think they're right along with Jim DeShays. I wonder if they're communicating.
Oh boy, we get to watch an extra inning game. Butted hard and foul.
Let's see a little extra peek at what went on at second base. Let's stand up on this play. Well, maybe so. Maybe you could rule error. Of course, you have to anticipate an umpire's call to give an error there.
Wandered back to the mound. Harrell will throw to third to Dominguez, and he gets the lead runner. Well, you could just tell by his body language he was going to third base. Took his time and made the accurate throw to force Almonte.
You know, just relying on my memory is not a good thing, but I don't recall an out on this play all year long at third base. You?
Well, now that you bring it up, maybe not.
I mean, here we are on game 162 in the 13th inning, and you get an out on the bunt play at third base. That's just incredible. That was all-out commitment by Lucas Harrell.
Well, he was quick on that. He had to be. Just barely got him. Now Granderson bats. It's ball 1. Well, back to that last replay, though. It looked like VR just took his eye off the baseball, and he dropped it. He never did really have it, so I think that's why he was given his 16th error of the year.
And I guess I would ask, why take your eye off the baseball? There's no further play to be made.
Right. Strike. David Robertson's warming up for the Yankees. 1-1 to Granderson in the 13th inning. One ball, 2 strikes. Only Jim DeShays could remember the last time the Astros went extra innings on the final day of the season.
You think?
That final game in 05, though, when the Astros needed to beat the Rockies here, and Roger Clemens had been ill, and Brandon Backey was named the starting pitcher. He really came up with a nice effort. They won the game, went into the playoffs, and went on to the World Series.
Brandon Backey was crucial, as I want to remember anyway, in that postseason, was he not?
He was.
We've got walk-to meetings going on between the mound and home plate.
The Braves bombed the Phillies 12-5. Julio Teheran winning his 14th. Well, they've got some really good arms heading into the playoffs now. He has one up. Just Medlin pitching well right now. Fouled away.
Craig Kimbrell is off the charts in what he's been doing as the closer.
In terms of dominant 3-man rotations for a postseason series, would you give that to the Dodgers?
I like them. I like the Tigers. And I like the Red Sox. I think they all load up very well in that regard. Wouldn't want to face Kershaw, I know that.
Granderson strikes out. Strikeout number 2 for Harold in his 4th inning.
14 strikeouts of Yankees hitters and 19 of Houston hitters.
Vernon Wells is 0 for 5. It's a strikeout fest.
There's got to be another way of saying that, isn't it?
Well, we have Worst Fest, right? Oktoberfest.
Yeah. It's not October yet, so we got to go elsewhere.
Not quite there.
Although it could come to that.
We might be there before the end of this game. There's strike 1 to Wells. Teams are usually in a big rush to get out after the last game of the season. Fly ball to right field. No rush here. J.D. Martinez helps Lucas Harold put up another 0. This one in the 13th inning, and it's still tied at 1. Paid tribute to Mariano Rivera. It was Enter Sandman. What will the exit song be? Here in the bottom of the 13th, the Astros coming up after having struck out some 19 times in the first 12 innings of this game. They'll try to win it with the bottom of the order with Crowe, Crawford, and Krause due to bat against Matt Daly here in the Astros 13th inning.
It's time to get some good swings again. It feels like offensively for Houston it's turned into a little bit more of a peaking game at home plate.
And the strikeouts in this one. Trevor Crowe is 0 for 4. In the Cardinal 4-0 win over the Cubs in St. Louis, the Cardinals wrapped up home field advantage for the National League postseason. Boston has that advantage in the American League. Strike to Crowe. Actually, Joe Kelly getting the win, worked 5 1/3 innings of 3-hit ball in relief of Jake Westbrook. Good cut by Crowe, and he falls behind 0-2 in the count. And now we're entering that phase of the season, the postseason to start very soon, in which starters become relievers. In the case of Joe Kelly, he's done both effectively for St. Louis. In tight, it's 1-2. Adam Wainwright has been named starter in Game 1 of the National League Division Series by Mike Matheny.
Well, you would think that would give the Cards an early advantage.
Out to second base, Adams charging. See what else Bloomberg has come up with for us. Most improved offensive player, Matt Carpenter. Most improved starter, Chacin. Hochevar, the most improved reliever. Chu, the best offensive addition. He went to Cincinnati. And Uehara, the pitching addition for the Red Sox, becoming their closer.
But Uehara is definitely a lockdown guy, and he's been a big part of what the Red Sox have done. Those are intriguing winners for me. It's not like Matt Carpenter came from Slumsville offensively prior to this season. He's been a good player. Did make improvements, no doubt.
Yeah. Welcome took strike 1 there. I'm going to have to check and see how many doubles he wound up with. He had 53, I believe, at last report. That was one big season for doubles. And he had 55 coming into today. That's an amazing year for doubles. Remember earlier this year, the young third baseman for Baltimore was on a record doubles pace.
Manny Machado was tearing up the doubles charts.
Sure was. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
How about Michael Kadire as most improved hitter? He's going to win a batting title.
333 coming into today, Ash. Didn't see what he finished with, but Yahoo's Going to win the title coming into today with no close competitor. Chris Johnson second, but he was 12 points behind.
This guy's a career .277 hitter with the season he's put up this year.
That's right.
So that's a pretty drastic improvement.
I think he's the 8th different Colorado Rocky to win a batting title.
And that probably has a lot to do with it. You go in and play in Denver after your games and you've got a chance of nudging or just bulldozing those numbers upward.
Well, Todd Helton, as the count goes to 3-2, had a decided difference, home versus road, and had great career numbers, as you know. But people are always going to wonder, is it because of the Coors Field effect, and that will affect probably the way he's viewed for the body of his work.
How about this one? Chris Johnson, the most improved hitter.
Oh, no doubt, he's there. He's right in the mix.
Well, he took a run at the batting title. It looks like he's going to come up short, but career .289 hitter.
Corcoran fouls it. He's limping around. Mark Krause is on deck. Yankees shifting around, playing Corcoran to the full side. Brendan Ryan's up the middle at shortstop.
Ronnie, apparently the Rangers have shut down the Angels in the top of the 8th inning.
Well, that means Mr. Joe Nathan will be getting ready for the 9th.
Now, here are the numbers why I kind of flinch on the Matt Carpenter most improved hitter notion, is that he's a career .308 hitter. His batting average this year is 10 points higher at .318.
Okay. Good point.
He's a little more power this year.
Paul Goldschmidt came in the RBI leader, and he'll win that title in the National League. He had 124 coming into today and was tied with Pedro Alvarez in Pittsburgh for the home run lead with 36. Carpenter leads the league in runs and hits this year. Leads in doubles as well. Long battle here for Corcoran. He keeps the count full. Padres are leading 6-2 at San Francisco. They're in the bottom of the 5th inning. This will be the 9th pitch to this batter by Daly. Jed Jerko hit his 23rd homer today for San Diego. Over the mound, out to shortstop. Ryan gets a bounce. Plays it on to first. 2 outs. And Daly, pitcher number 6, will work to Mark Krause next. Krause came in the 8th inning, pinch hitting for Jay Belmore. He struck out in the 8th and again in the 11th inning. Astros have struck out 19 times in this game. And that's a high for them in 2013. Out to second, and Adams has it. On to Reynolds. We move to the 14th inning, and it's still tied at home. 14th inning begins, and Mark Reynolds hits a foul pop. Chris Carter comes over. And that's strike one as Lucas Harrell remains on the mound. He came in the 10th inning. Inning number 5 beginning for Harrell. Reynolds is hitless on this game. He's 0 for 5. We were just hearing that this is a Yankee club record for strikeouts in one game by their pitchers with 19. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rangers have added to their lead, and they're now up 5-2 on the Angels in the bottom of the 8th. High drive left center field by Reynolds, who's in his home run trot. And that thing has a home run carry to it. 2-1 Yankees as Reynolds hits number 21.
Well, if there was a likely bat for the Yankees to do this, I would say Mark Reynolds would be among the leaders in that clubhouse. He can launch with the best of them. One very strong man.
21 homers, 67 runs batted in for Reynolds. The Yankees lead it 2-1. As he leads off the 14th inning with a long ball to left center. Travis Hafner follows. They strike one to Hafner. Hafner was hit twice by pitches by Eric Bedard. 0 for 3 in this game. Strike there. No balls, 2 strikes to Travis Hafner. Quite a player with the Cleveland Indians. He's down on 3.
See what Mark Reynolds does is he launches the baseball. He extends with that left arm always, and that just keeps him in the zone a bit longer. Surprising with that he's such a big strikeout guy, but boy, he just generates huge power, big, strong in the legs.
Strike one on David Adams. Reynolds giving the Yankees their first lead of the day. 1 ball, 1 strike. A rough year for Lucas Harrell, leading the American League in losses. His 5th inning of work. He has a 1-2 count.
One of the most impressive outings, certainly in the second half of the year for Lucas Harrell. That sinker's been down. Good over the top breaker.
Two balls, 2 strikes for Lucas. And it's 3-2. Joe Saunders shares the lead for losses in the American League with Lucas with 16. Edwin Jackson of the Cubs, the Major League loss leader, has 18. Strike 3.
There's really no doubt as this ball leaves the bat of Mark Reynolds. The Yankees are a little bit pleased. Yeah, I smell a post-game meal coming.
And Brendan Ryan stings a line drive into right center field. Keep it going here in the Yankee 14th inning. Ryan gets his second hit of the game. Almonte comes up. That's 9 New York hits in the game. Astros will have the top of the order due up in the bottom of the inning. VR, Altuve, and Dominguez. Foul ball for strike 1. Harrell has struck out 4 now. Adrian Beltre hit his 30th home run for the Rangers. 1 ball, 1 strike. Giovanni Soto added number 9 for Texas. And it's now 6-2 Rangers. Still in the bottom of the 8th inning. That's strike 2. If the Rangers finish the deal, they will tie with Tampa Bay with 91-71 records for the second wild card spot in the American League. Runner going, and it's bounced through the right side. And it'll be first and third for the Yankees. Ryan getting to third base. He was moving on the pitch, and Almonte hit it through the right side behind him. Hit number 3 of the inning. Jorge De Leon is warming up for Houston now. Eduardo Nunez bats. Nunez has 2 hits in this game. Strike one as Harrell drops down sidearm. Last year, Harrell won 11 and lost 11.
I'm just amazed, especially for a final day of the season, how many strikes have been taken this afternoon.
Yeah.
Usually kind of a mandate among teammates, swing the bats. But it's been quite different today.
Have to go through those scenarios about the American League wild card playoff tie for tomorrow. I think Texas is hosting that game. They're going to second, and it's foul. So the Rangers will stay home for one game in that playoff with Tampa Bay. I believe it's a night game tomorrow, and then the winner of that will move on for one more game in the official wild card playoff against Cleveland. Winner of that will move on against the Red Sox. Best of 5 series. That's out toward right center field, and that'll score the second run of the inning, and then maybe another one. Yeah, they're going to try to get 2 runs home on this one, and they will. A 2-run double. And the Yankees lead it 4-1. Ryan and Almonte both scoring on the Nunez 2-base hit.
That's called icing. And that's what the Yankees are hoping right now. But it's a big swing to make things a bit easier there in the bottom of the inning.
And both quarters headed out to the mound. Lucas Harrell has gone 4 2/3 in relief in this one. Eric Bedard, the starter, went 7 innings, a 3-hit shutout ball, left with a 1-0 lead. The Yankees tying it in the 8th. And now the first runs have scored since that 8th inning. They've scored 3 times, and they're in front 4-1. We'll be right back. He is the batter. And the pitcher is Jorge De Leon. In 10 games with the Astros, he's 0-1 with a 5.59 ERA. Murphy's 0 for 6 in this game. Taking ball 1. Of the Yankees' 11 hits, 4 have come in this inning, 2 for extra bases. The Reynolds homer to lead it off, and the 2-run double by Nunez. That moves inside for De Leon, and it's 2 balls, no strikes. 26 years old.
Rather longish day, Brownie, for J.R. Murphy, I think for a lot of us as well, but 0 for 6 on his afternoon.
Yeah.
3 strikeouts.
Two balls and a strike. Classic Yankee uniform. Really never changes, does it?
Yeah, it's true for the gray, but it's, from me, from my eye, much more true for the white home uniform with the pinstripes.
Yeah. Line shot left field. That's off the wall. It kicks back toward the infield. It'll score a run. It's a long RBI single, and safe getting back into first, J.R. Murphy. 5-1 Yankees. That's his first RBI.
rains, it pours. Pretty good hittable fastball right there. Murphy finally gets into the act. After all that catching he's done today, probably a deserving guy.
First major league run batted in for J.R. Murphy. Curtis Granderson with 2 outs and a runner at first. Chops that one foul for strike 1.
When you see that video of Mariano Rivera being taken out of a ball game by Derek Jeter and Andy Pettitte, as they finally leave the hill, take a look at the catcher, the young catcher with the wide eyes. I believe it's J.R. Murphy, and it's kind of telling. Just that young, wide-eyed look as all this was going on, the history on the hill.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. Okay, we'll have a chance to see it again sometime. One ball, 2 strikes. And if the Astros do not put on a furious rally in the bottom of the 14th, they will become the first team in Major League history, in modern Major League history, to end a season with 15 consecutive losses. That roller is foul. Still 1-2 to Granderson. Angels are batting in the top of the 9th. They trail the Rangers 6-3.
You going to give your voice a break come tomorrow?
Yes. 6-2. Let's make that Texas Angels score. You've got some allergies in the area, Ash.
No kidding.
You better stay off the golf course tomorrow.
Well, you know what? A man's got to expose himself every now and then.
I think there will be signs on the driving range. Do not participate if you have allergies. We're not going to allow you up here.
Hopefully there are no allergy police out and about.
This one gets by Corcoran, and the runner will advance to second base.
Rains in the area scheduled for tomorrow. Scheduled, that's not the right word. Forecast for tomorrow, and we'll have to see how it all works out. You've got golf as well.
Well, you're playing in the Astros Foundation tournament, right? At Shadowhawk.
Should be a lot of fun. Might be wet.
What time do you guys tee off?
I believe it's 1 o'clock. What about you and the Larry Dierker game?
About noon or so. Ground ball to first. Carter to the bag. And the Yankees strike for 4 in the 14th to lead at 5. At least the closer du jour, David Robertson. It's not a safe situation, but he's the guy without Mariano Rivera available to try to get these final 3 outs on the Yankees season. They've handed him the nice extra lead with their big 4-run inning. He's 3 for 5 in saves, but he's had an excellent year as the setup man with a 2.07 ERA. Keeping the walks down, Ash, to 18 and 65 in the 3rd inning.
He is the guy who might be the most likely to become the guy who follows Rivera as the closer for the Yankees. And he's certainly holding left-handers down.
Matt Daly could be the winning pitcher after a couple of scoreless frames. Now it's Jonathan VR leading it off in the Astros 14. He has a double today. And looks at that one for ball 1.
See that little cutter. Very much like Mariano Rivera.
Well, why not try to pick his brain while he's here? And that's what David Robertson has done.
If you get a chance to learn from the best, learn it.
Now back, and it's 1-1. With the Rangers win over the Angels 6-2. That creates game number 163 of the season for Texas tomorrow night in Arlington at 7:07 against the Rays. The winner will face Cleveland in a 1-game wild card playoff. That pitch is up 2-1. Here's the interesting facet now about that, Nelson Cruz can join the Rangers for that game.
And I don't think the Rangers are going to reject him either. They need some offense.
Wouldn't be at all shocking to see him in the starting lineup. He's been working out in Arizona. 3 balls and a strike.
He's a legitimate slugger, and he provides some pop.
Ground ball to short for Ryan. That's 1 out. See the clincher for the Cleveland Indians, who finished with a 10-game winning streak. Jason Kipnis making the play.
And one of the big players for the Indians all year long, and That is one heck of a play. Game was not exactly on the line at that moment. That heck of a way to end it. For the Indians under Terry Francona, what a turnaround.
Former Astros skipper Brad Mills there.
See Jason Giambi jumping around, and boy, he played a big part in the end.
No, he did. Altuve with a grounder to Ryan. 2 outs. So the final standings are Cleveland 92-70. Tampa Bay and Texas 91-71. They will play one game tomorrow night at Texas to determine which one then moves on to play one game against Cleveland. Cleveland finishing 10-0, Tampa Bay 8-2, Texas 8-2. Those three combining for a record of 26-4 in the final game.
Well, 10 games for each club, so yeah, that's pretty impressive down the stretch.
Right to Matt Dominguez.
Cleveland didn't add any losses to that figure. Actually, I guess, yeah, did they add one? They were 9-1 in their last 10 coming into today.
Yeah, they made it a 10-game winning streak today.
Yeah, that's right.
So great finish for Francona, who used the bullpen furiously. Dominguez with a ball hit toward Granderson in right center field. And that ends it, and the Yankees sweep the Astros in this 3-game series, sending Houston home with a 15-game losing streak. And Andy Pettitte with his complete game win last night, a big part of the weekend. But for the Astros, the season ends with 51 wins, 111 losses. Final score in 14, the Yankees 5, the Astros 1.